Chapter 5181. At this point even Qin Lu was a little hesitant. She did not know what to do. Did Big Brother Jiangchen really discover this ancient ruins? Standing behind Big Brother Jiangchen, as long as there was a hint of hesitation, she would not hesitate to strike. She would fight to the death with Big Brother Jiangchen, and would not allow anyone to harm Big Brother Jiangchen. Everyone be on your guard. This Jiangchen is harboring evil intentions. We must be careful. Get into formation. The Green On tribe will never be slaves. Prepare for battle. The people of the Green On tribe were all prepared for battle. However, at this point, the yellow sand gradually receded, and the sky became clear again. However, the people of the Green On tribe were all covered in dust. Some of them were even half buried in the yellow sand. Looking at their pathetic state, Qin Lu could not help but laugh. These people were a bunch of idiots. Now raise your heads and see who is the one deceiving themselves. Jiangchen said calmly. All the people of the Green On tribe were dumbfounded. They exchanged glances and realized that Jiangchen did not attack them. Instead, he stood far away and stared at them in silence. The people of the Green On tribe seemed to feel a little awkward. Jiangchen did not attack at all. Instead, they were the ones who were panicking and almost attacked Jiangchen. Guys, look. It seems like there really is a city above our heads. That's right, that's right. It's definitely an ancient city. But why would it appear above our heads? That's right. Seems like we've wronged Mr. Jiangchen. This really shouldn't have happened. We've sinned. The outline of the city could be seen clearly. It was only now that Jiangchen realized that the smoke beacon ancient city that they had been searching for so long was right above their heads. As expected, the ancient ruins that they had been searching for were right above their heads. Big Brother Jiangchen, you're really amazing. Qin Lu said excitedly. Everyone had an excited smile on their faces. Little friend Jiangchen, you really have a keen eye. Yi Rodi nodded his head slightly. Jiangchen's strength wasn't bad. If he could help the Green On tribe, it could be considered as a good fortune for the Green On tribe. It's all thanks to Mr. Jiangchen. Indeed, if it weren't for Mr. Jiangchen, who knows how long we would have to wait before we could complete Beacon Smoke Ancient City. Good fortune, this is truly a great fortune. At this moment, the attitude of the people of the Green On tribe towards Jiangchen underwent a 180-degree change. They completely treated Jiangchen as their savior. If not for the fact that their ancestors were here, they would have treated Jiangchen like a god. The ugly face from before had also disappeared in an instant without a trace. Qin Lu couldn't help feeling emotional. This was the fickleness of the world. Everyone's face was different. But luckily they finally found Smoke Beacon Ancient City. However, this ancient city was right in the sky above them. Everyone was extremely nervous and did not know what to do. However, that clear silhouette had everyone filled with joy. Since they had found Beacon Smoke Ancient City, it would probably be quite some time before they were released from the curse. With this, they could finally be free from the curse that had plagued them for thousands of years. No one would have to die searching for their ancestors anymore. Hope was right in front of them. Who wouldn't be excited? Qinchi was extremely surprised. To think that this Jiangchen had become his helper. If not for him, how long more would they have to search before they could find this legendary Beacon Smoke Ancient City? But to let this fella steal the limelight was truly despicable. He must find a chance to get rid of him. But right now the most important thing was to find Beacon Smoke Ancient City. As for this fella Jiangchen, it wouldn't be too late to deal with him in the future. Since we found Beacon Smoke Ancient City, let's not waste any more time. Let's head to the ancient city to take a look first. Qinchi pretended to be calm. However, at this moment he was extremely excited. The ancient city was found. His dream was one step closer. Jiangchen's heart was extremely cold. It seemed that this Qinchi truly hated him and wanted to kill him whenever he had the chance. Now that he had found Beacon Smoke Ancient City, he chose to remain silent without saying a word. However, at this moment, everyone was unable to control their excitement. An incomparably loud sound suddenly resounded in the sky. This loud sound lasted for a very long time, causing everyone's hearts to become incomparably excited. Their faces were filled with shock. What is going on? It's like the sky is collapsing. We won't be buried here, right? Yeah, what should we do? Why don't we quickly leave this place? This Beacon Smoke Ancient Land is too strange. Giving up halfway will not lead to great things. Our victory is right in front of us, how can we retreat? A series of roars came from the crowd, but there were also sounds of fear. After all, the entire ancient land of Beacon Smoke was shaking, giving people a great pressure. If the entire Beacon Smoke ancient city were to fall, all of them would not be able to escape death. It's all Zhou Xian's fault. If he didn't create this demonic wind, would Beacon Smoke ancient city be on the verge of collapsing? Yeah, I didn't expect this. We treated him as our senior, yet he tricked us like this. This is intolerable. Patriarch, this Zhou Xian has evil intentions. He's the jinx of our Green On clan. If we don't get rid of this person, we won't be able to quench our hatred. He wants to send all of us to Avicii hell. Zhou Xian turned a deaf ear to them. These people were just a bunch of fence-sitters. However, at this moment Zhou Xian also discovered a clue. The sky didn't seem like it was going to fall. Instead, there was a commotion happening underground. The commotion was getting louder and louder. That was why they thought that the sky was going to collapse. Big brother Zhou Xian, what should we do? Are we still going with them? Qin Lu asked in a low voice. At this moment they seemed to have become the target of everyone. Don't worry, we won't die. Before long these people will shut their mouths again. Either they're all dead or they'll be reborn. Zhou Qian's voice was calm without any hesitation. He had already seen through these people. Qin Chi was also cautiously looking at his surroundings. His face was grim. Everyone was panicking in the face of the undulating earth and mountains. Finally, an earth-shattering reversal of the heavenly dipper made everyone hold their breaths. The huge ancient battlefield actually had a 180-degree turn at this moment. Like a wheel, Beacon Smoke ancient city gradually turned to the bottom, and the ground that they were originally standing on had already started to turn, turning to the top of their heads. Chapter 5182. At this moment the sandstorm blew past once again, brushing past everyone's cheeks and falling from the sky. It was as if nothing had happened. However, everyone's faces were filled with astonishment. Everything seemed like a dream. Never in their wildest dreams would they have imagined that this world would have a 180-degree reversal. Everyone was in disbelief. The ancient city before them was filled with simplicity and simplicity. However, there was no longer any wind or sand in the area. What's wrong with us? What's going on? Is this the Smoky Beacon ancient city? Who knows? But it seems like we really found the Smoky Beacon ancient city. Is everyone all right? Damn it, I almost fell to my death. Yeah. Fortunately, it was a close call. Phew, everyone looked at each other and heaved a sigh of relief. After all, they were fine. Moreover, they found the Smoky Beacon ancient city. This was their biggest reward. It's all your fault. Zhou Xian, did you know that the Smoky Beacon ancient city would turn around? It's really too hateful to make us so worried. Lobos glared at Zhou Xian. Yeah, you were just messing with us on purpose, weren't you? Damn it. If you had said it earlier, we would have been prepared. Wouldn't it have been better? Now that we're covered in dust and almost scared to death, you should be happy now, right? The human heart is unpredictable. Seems like we've underestimated this fella. I think he just wants to see us make a fool of ourselves. More and more people gathered around Lobos. Qin Lu had not expected that not only were they not grateful to Big Brother Zhou Xian, but they were also targeting Big Brother Zhou Xian. How could there be such unreasonable people in this world? This group of people were completely barbarians. Are you guys even reasonable? If not for Big Brother Zhou Xian, would you guys have found the Smoky Beacon ancient city? Now you're pushing all the blame to Big Brother Zhou Xian. You guys are too shameless. Is this repaying kindness with enmity exclusive to the Green On tribe? Qin Lu said disdainfully, instantly enraging many people from the Green On tribe. All of you shut up. A bunch of people who don't know what's good for them. Do you still have any shame? Do you really want to distort the truth and sow discord? Yi Luodi stood up at this time. What Zhou Xian didn't expect was that Yi Luodi would actually stand on his side, which was very rare. If it wasn't for little friend Zhou Xian, even if you searched for the end of the world, you still wouldn't be able to find Smoke Beacon ancient city. Now that you've found it, not only are you not grateful to him, you even want to point your finger at him. Doesn't your conscience hurt? If not for the fact that this is a critical period, I would definitely not let you bastards off. When did our Green On clan become so indiscriminate? Yi Rodi's words caused many people to lower their heads, their faces flushed red. However, Zhou Xian could see that some of them were still filled with resentment towards him. These people were like untamed wolf cubs. In their eyes, even breathing was wrong. They only had Ancestor Xianxia in their eyes. They wouldn't put anyone else in their eyes. Not to mention Zhang Chen, even the Patriarch Yi Luodi's status was greatly threatened by these people. Jiang Chen didn't dare to say anything. This time it's all thanks to you, little friend Jiang Chen. Otherwise, I really don't know when we would be able to find this smoke beacon ancient city. Yi Luodi said with a smile. Don't worry, it's nothing. Jiang Chen said faintly. Scope. Since we found smoke beacon ancient city, let's quickly go in and take a look. Qin Chi said in a low voice. He glanced at Jiang Chen, but there was no gratitude in his eyes. Instead, there was a hint of tit for tat. Jiang Chen couldn't be bothered to lower himself to his level. Anyway, his current goal was to wait for them to make a move and reap the spoils later. This Lobos was making things difficult for him and couldn't differentiate between right and wrong. It was most likely instigated by Qin Chi after all. He was the one who found Qin Chi, therefore, the two of them were in the same boat. There was nothing much to say. Smoke Beacon Ancient City was huge and shocking. Even Jiang Chen was very emotional. This huge ancient city was now revealed in front of them. The surroundings were horizontal and vertical. Although the domineering style of the ancient city was no longer there, and only countless broken walls were left, one could tell that this was definitely a terrifying ancient city. Looking from afar, it looked like a real dragon that was entrenched on the ground. The people of the Green On clan didn't continue to struggle and quickly followed Qin Chi into the ancient city. I'm sorry, Ancestor Jiang Chen. Our people of the Green On clan might have been too anxious. That's why they spoke so harshly to you. They are usually very kind. This time, it's all thanks to you. Di Luo said with a face full of shame. He was still supporting Jiang Chen as always. He was both excited and at a loss for Jiang Chen to be able to find Smoke Beacon Ancient City. It's fine. Scope. Don't let them think that you don't fit in with the group again. Jiang Chen waved his hand and followed behind the group as they entered Smoke Beacon Ancient City. Jiang Chen raised his head and glanced at the sky. This place should be an extremely powerful underground magnetic field. Both sides were mutually repelling. Only through great means or through the passage of time would this Smoke Beacon Ancient City rotate. However, Jiang Chen was still very shocked. Jiang Chen surveyed his surroundings. He had a feeling that this place was like a bloody mouth, giving him a very stifling feeling. Qin Chi glanced at Jiang Chen. This guy had some tricks up his sleeve. His only goal now was to quickly find what he wanted after finding Smoke Beacon Ancient City. The group quickly entered the ancient city. All of them were filled with anticipation. Everyone split up in search for the altar. As long as we find it, we will be able to find the place to break the curse. Remember, if anything strange happens, inform me immediately. Qin Chi waved his hand and ordered everyone to scatter like birds and beasts. They began to spread out in the ancient city, searching for the so-called altar. It's still our ancestor Qin Chi. Once we find the altar, we will be able to break the curse. Just thinking about it makes me excited. That's right. That Jiang Chen doesn't know what's good for him. Without Ancestor Qin Chi, we wouldn't be able to come here. Right now, Ancestor Qin Chi is our backbone. Even the Patriarch can't order us around. That's right, well said. At this time we have to stick together. Following Ancestor Qin Chi is definitely the right choice. I'm really too smart. All of you remember Ancestor Qin Chi is our highest leader. If the Patriarch still wants to sing a different tune from Ancestor Qin Chi, we must cut off Ancestor Qin Chi's side. Jiang Chen sighed incomparably. This group of people had already become Qin Chi's minions. They were completely brainwashed by Qin Chi. They didn't even put their Patriarch in their eyes. Looks like the pressure this curse exerted on them was extremely great. They only had a single thought in their hearts now, and it was to remove the curse as soon as possible and flee far away. They didn't want to continue suffering on Kuei Tree Star, and they wanted to charge bravely to the ends of the world. Chapter 5183. What a huge footprint. How big is that person? Yeah, it's my first time seeing such a huge footprint. Even the demonic beasts of the Earth Dragon clan wouldn't have such a huge footprint. That's true. Could there have been an earth-shattering giant here in the past? I've never heard of it. I've read many ancient books of our Green On clan, but I've never heard of such a huge giant before. Perhaps this is an ancient city, a relic of another human civilization before us. Before we appeared, they had already disappeared. Many people fell into silence. Perhaps it was true. The Smoke Beacon Ancient City had already disappeared when they appeared on the Wood Kuei Star. Now all they could find was the relic of the smoke beacon ancient city. As for the scattered branches and the huge ancient city, it wasn't something they could verify. This footprint is more than 300 feet wide. This giant is unimaginable. Seems like a part of the ancient city relic was destroyed by this footprint. Yi Luodi said with a frown. I've heard that the giant clan used to exist in the Wood Kuei Star. Looking at the destruction of this city, it should have been destroyed by the giants. There are many humans around, all of them died unnaturally. Seems like there was a real life and death battle here. Qin Chi said faintly. His face was calm as if he was high up in the mountains and knew this place very well. Ancestor Qin Chi is right. Of course. As the ancestor of our Green On clan, Ancestor Qin Chi must know about the historical relic of the Wood Kuei Star. There's no doubt about that. Ancestor Qin Chi, just say it. We won't say a word about what we should do. Everyone started to admire Qin Chi again and praised him. The main city is right in front. Let's cross this place first. Qin Chi said. Ancestor Qin Chi, I found an open-air plaza up ahead. There are many statues there. Could it be the sacrificial ground that you mentioned? Someone rushed to Qin Chi and said excitedly. Qin Chi's eyes moved as he looked into the distance. Let's go. After saying that, Qin Chi rushed forward without stopping, with Jiang Chen following closely behind. For the people of the Green On clan, cheers rang out incessantly. Now that they had found the sacrificial ground, it was equivalent to them being completely freed. A group of people swarmed over, flying through the ancient city, following Qin Chi's footsteps, rushing towards the plaza the Azure Monkey spoke of. In the blink of an eye, everyone had rushed to the huge plaza. It was 1,000 meters wide and they crowded around it. Rather than calling it a city within a city, it would be more accurate to call it a coliseum. Moreover, it was extremely tall and huge. This was also the reason why they had not seen it before. In the middle of the huge square there was a circular stone platform. The stone platform was dozens of meters tall and there were hundreds of stone steps. Around it there were 9 ferocious-looking humanoid statues. On the stone platform there was a stone table and 9 stone chairs. There was a pillar at the center of the stone platform. Looking at it from afar, it was as if a sword was pointing at the heavens. It's here. Qin Chi's face was incomparably flushed as he muttered to himself. Qin Chi walked forward step by step. However, before he had gone more than a few meters, he saw that the sand under the ground was actually shaking. The sand began to sink, causing everyone to instinctively retreat. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. An ear-piercing sound rang out, causing everyone's scalp to go numb. Jiang Chen's eyes turned cold. He saw that under the sand there were many giant scorpions. Each scorpion was more than a meter long, looking very majestic. Moreover, the scorpion's tail was very long, like a pair of pincers. Moreover, it was very sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4. There were hundreds of scorpions densely packed on the open space of the plaza. So many scorpions? Hasn't this beacon smoke ancient city been buried for countless years? How can there be so many of them? God knows. These scorpions seem to be very hostile towards us. It seems like we've invaded their territory. For animals, scorpions are very territorial. I never thought that there would be so many scorpions hidden under the beacon smoke ancient city. This is too strange. These scorpions are blocking our way. Are they trying to stop us from advancing? What do you think? If we don't get rid of these scorpions, do you think we can take another step forward? Everyone looked at each other in dismay. They were extremely cautious. Although they had the advantage in numbers, not every one of them was a top-notch expert. It would not be easy to deal with these scorpions. They hoped that their strength was not as abnormal as they had imagined. What should we do, Big Brother Jiangchen? These scorpions seem to be aiming at us, they're coming towards us. Qin Lu said in a low voice, her face was stern. These scorpions were not easy to deal with. We'll deal with them when they come. Moreover, there are so many people blocking in front of us. Jiang Chen said without batting an eyelid. Where did these guys come from? Could it be that someone doesn't want us to enter? Could it be that the curse of the Green On tribe is so strange? Qin Lu murmured. The Green On tribe has probably been used as a tool. This Qin Chi is not simple and his goal is not that simple either. There must be some treasure here that attracted him here. As for these scorpions, they are just a roadblock. Let's see if we can get past them. The more dangerous a place is, the more mysterious it will be. Naturally, there's no need to talk about the treasure. Jiang Chen looked at Qin Lu and smiled. Lu understood tacitly and stood in formation. Chi. These scorpions spat out some foam from the corners of their mouths as they surrounded them step by step. The scene was extremely tense. A huge battle was imminent. Get ready to fight. Once we kill these scorpions, we can reach the other side of the sacrificial ground. Chi waved his hand. All the members of the Green On tribe glared angrily as they prepared to fight to the death with these scorpions. Chi could naturally see that these scorpions weren't simple. In fact, they were terrifying. Using the trash of the Green On tribe to exhaust these scorpions was exactly what he wanted. Chapter 5184. Prepare for battle, protect ancestor Chi. After killing these bastards, we'll be arriving at the cursed land. As long as we destroy this sacrificial ground, we'll regain our freedom. Brothers, our dawn is right in front. Fight. Let the light of the Azure On race shine over the entire Kuemu planet. Let every corner be stained with our sweat. Jiang Qin frowned. A bunch of lunatics. They had been completely brainwashed by Chi, however at this time they had to go all out. There were many scorpions, even more than the azure monkeys. About 2 or 3 scorpions against 1 azure monkey. The battle began in an instant. Roars and roars filled the colossal arena. The echoes reverberated through the air. It was as though the years of beast battles from millions of years ago had reappeared. Blood once again boiled over on this piece of land. These scorpions were even more terrifying than Jiang Qin had imagined. They were extremely fast and they were fighting on their home ground. They charged forward without a care for anything. Their sharp pincers and elusive scorpion tails were all lethal weapons. How could these scorpions be simple to survive in the ancient ruins for so many years? Each scorpion's power was terrifying. With 2 of them working together, even some star level 8 celestial monkeys would have to avoid them. Even if there were hundreds of them, it was impossible for all of them to be star level 8. Some of the weaker azure monkeys were having a hard time moving forward. The battle between the 2 sides was extremely intense. Whether it was the scorpions or the Azure On race, there were people constantly falling into pools of blood, their bones forever buried in beacon smoke ancient city. Screams and shouts rang out incessantly. The scene was getting more and more shocking. A life and death battle was nothing more than this. With so many scorpions, they were gradually gaining the upper hand, firmly suppressing the azure monkeys of the Azure On race. The situation was very passive. Jiang Qin and Lu were careful, dodging and fighting the scorpions at the same time. He had no need to be a hero. At this time, Chi was the main general of the Azure On race. He would not do something that would be strenuous and unrewarding. Just now he had spent so much effort to find beacon smoke ancient land, only to be framed by the Azure On race. There were many people here who did not know right from wrong. If he did not teach them a lesson, how would they know that the hearts of men were sinister? Their deaths had most likely been planned by Chi. Perhaps it could be said that he wanted to exhaust the Green On tribe's strength. That way he could better control them. In his eyes, they were just a group of suicide squad. If they died, they died. There was nothing to be regretful about. All of you hold on. Chi roared. Everyone fought bravely, bathed in blood. At this time, there were already dozens of azure monkeys lying on the ground. The situation was getting more and more difficult to control. Although many scorpions had fallen, most of them had perished together. There was no real threat to the lives of these scorpions. Erodi was incomparably nervous. But now that they were in front of the sacrificial ground, could they retreat? If they really retreated, then all their efforts would have been for naught. Even their dead tribesmen would have died in vain. But what if they did not retreat? Right now, there were so many scorpions that they were gradually nibbling away at the Azure On race's power. If this continued, only death awaited them. Ancestor Chi, what should we do? Erodi finally could not hold it in any longer. He could only ask Chi for help. This is a critical period. You must hold on. I will go to the sacrificial ground to see what is going on first. Chi didn't care about the life and death of Erodi and the others. He continued forward step by step. Facing the scorpions that pounced at him from all directions, he didn't hold back at all. He punched out heavily, repelling them all. However, he didn't pay any attention to the Green On tribe. In his eyes, there was only that huge stone altar. Seeing more and more people die, Erodi was filled with helplessness. Ancestor Chi didn't care if they lived or died. Like a demon, he rushed towards the altar. What he didn't know was that it wasn't Xianxia who was bewitched. The ones who were truly bewitched were the members of the Green Brilliance tribe. Everyone, follow me and retreat from the ancient city. Rodi roared, preparing to retreat. However, what he didn't expect was that not many people were willing to leave with him. In his eyes, the lives of his tribesmen were above all else. Facing so many scorpions at this time, they were clearly powerless. The scene was too brutal. More and more people fell, lying in pools of blood. We cannot retreat. Ancestor Xianxia said that victory is right in front of us. As long as we destroy the sacrificial ground, we can break the curse on us. We cannot retreat. Lobos bellowed. Many people stood by Lobos, fighting to the death with these scorpions. Even though they knew that these scorpions could topple the Azuron race, as long as there was a chance of survival, they could not retreat. This was the chance that Ancestor Xianxia had left for them. Patriarch, you're too weak. You simply don't know what we want. Yes, Patriarch. After so many years, we have suffered enough from the oppression of the curse. We must leave this place. We must break the curse on us. We will never be slaves again. Right now, Ancestor Xianxia is our hope. The opportunity is right in front of us. If we retreat, we will never have such an opportunity again. If you want to leave, leave by yourself. We will not go with you. Right. We pledge our lives to follow Ancestor Xianxia. Ancestor Xianxia will lead us to break the curse. We pledge our lives to follow Ancestor Xianxia. The shouts were awe-inspiring. However, at this time Rodi was extremely heartbroken. He had never expected that his words would be questioned. Was this still the united Azuron race of the past? Now his words were useless. He had already followed Xianxia to conquer the world. He originally wanted everyone to leave the ancient city and preserve their strength. But now he had attracted a wave of curses. At this time Rodi felt very depressed. Rodi was very angry. More than that, he was sad. He was too much of a failure as a clan leader. They had all gone crazy. In order to break the curse, they had disregarded everything. He even thought that he was a coward. He thought that he should follow them in their madness and charge towards the end of death. You bunch of lunatics. Death is like an extinguished lamp. So what if the curse is broken? Stubborn. You are infuriating. Chapter 5185. You're just too cowardly. If we were all like you, we would still be trapped in this curse for all eternity. Right now, Ancestor Xianxia is risking everything for us, not putting any danger in his eyes. How can we retreat at a time like this? That's right. Chief, you have disappointed us. We are not afraid of death. For the future generations of our Green Mang clan, we will not regret it even if we die. We will definitely be able to overcome all difficulties. Patriarch, you're as timid as a mouse. You don't deserve to be our patriarch. Our patriarch isn't afraid of death. We should disregard everything to face our enemies. If we're afraid, wouldn't we be cowards? Rodi was thinking for the sake of the big picture. However, at this time he had become the target of everyone. No one would listen to him. Even those who were prepared to follow behind him had become hesitant. Xianxia had expected this. Many members of the Green Mang clan had become puppets. Their thoughts had been completely brainwashed by Lobos and Xianxia at this time. They would unconditionally choose to follow Xianxia. As for Rodi's cautious style, they had already seen it as cowardice. Although Rodi was working hard, the reality was rather cruel. Rodi had no choice. Right now it had become their home ground. You guys are jumping into a fire pit. Rodi roared hysterically. However, he had lost his command as the chief. Right now he was just a mere figurehead. No one would listen to him. They are making a suicidal charge. It is pointless. Qianlu had long seen through the true nature of this matter. Chief Yi, if you want to save your clansmen, you only have one way. Xianxia stood beside Rodi and said. Seeing how dejected Rodi was, Xianxia was filled with emotions. What way? Rodi suddenly lifted his head and looked at Xianxia with a hopeful gaze. Kill Xianxia, Xianxia said. What? This. Rodi couldn't believe Xianxia's words at all. Whether he is your ancestor or not, you should be very clear in your heart now. If this goes on, these scorpions will kill all the members of the Greenon tribe. This is not a baseless rumor. He only has one goal, and that is to find this sacrificial ground. To him, your Greenon tribe is his vanguard. Do you know why I won against him but didn't fight with him? Because I want to see what tricks he has up his sleeves. Xianxia looked at Rodi calmly. Rodi's face darkened, his mind struggling. Jiang Chen's words weren't unreasonable, but his preconceived notions still made him feel that Qin Chi's identity wasn't so easily shaken. You can choose not to believe it, but you've already seen the results. They're no match for these scorpions, and all you can do is watch as your people fall one by one into a pool of blood, and their bones will be buried here forever. He doesn't care about the life or death of the Green On tribe. Right now he is a demon searching for what he wants. Jiang Chen said calmly. Yi Rodi's heart was filled with mixed feelings. He didn't know if Jiang Chen's words were meant to sow discord, but at least at this point he had no other choice. Go find Qin Chi and fight him to the death. Fight him to the death. Only then can you let your people escape his control. Right now they are just puppets and you are just a tribe leader that no one cares about. All right. I'll go now. Yi Rodi didn't retreat but instead advanced. At this time the choice that Jiang Chen had given him was the only one and the most effective. Only when Qin Chi revealed his final fangs, and only when Yi Rodi awakened the Green On tribe, would their people see through Qin Chi's true colors. At this time he would definitely not hide himself anymore. Little friend Jiang Chen, please help our Green On tribe overcome this crisis. Yi Rodi will be eternally grateful. Yi Rodi said with a solemn expression. I'll do my best. Jiang Chen frowned. If he acted now, it would be hard to guarantee that Yi Rodi would be able to uncover Qin Chi's true colors. But looking at him and the Green On tribe that was in deep trouble, Jiang Chen's heart softened. Big brother Jiang Chen, will this method work? Chen Lu was a little worried. At this time she wouldn't completely infuriate Yi Rodi. He has no other choice now. If he doesn't trust me his people will all die. If he trusts me he still has a chance to live. He can see the current situation more clearly than I can. As an ancestor of the Green On tribe, the burden on his shoulders isn't just these few hundred people, but even more of the Green On tribe. He can't afford to lose anything. Jiang Chen smiled. And Qin Chi has already found what he wants. The appearance of these scorpions is the best thing he can rely on. They can largely destroy the Green On tribe's strength and he won't have to do anything. Otherwise, if he can't remove the curse in the end, the Green On tribe will definitely riot. At that time, Qin Chi won't be able to control it. Jiang Chen's face was calm. Only at this time could he see clearly that this Qin Chi only had one goal. He didn't care about the Green On tribe at all. Qin Chi, you dog. You deceive the hearts of the people. Today I must hold you accountable. My Green On tribe can't be completely destroyed here. Yi Rodi charged into the scorpions and rapidly approached Qin Chi. Do you want to go against me? Patriarchy, in order to help your Green On tribe remove the curse, I have put in a lot of effort. And now you're pointing your spear at me? Are you looking to die? You're risking universal condemnation by pointing your sword at your benefactor. Qin Chi said with a faint smile. He couldn't help but frown. Our Green On tribe has already lost over 100 people and you don't even care. You still have the face to say it's for us? You're just using us to help you find what you want. Yi Rodi said angrily. This is too heartbreaking. Patriarchy, aren't you afraid of disappointing everyone by doing this? They're all doing this so that their descendants can be rid of the curse. But now you've become a tiger blocking their path. Do you think they'll be of one mind with you? Qin Chi smiled. I won't restrict them in any way. If someone wants to leave I won't stop them. But they're all following their own hearts. They want to break the seal on their bodies so no one can stop their will. Chapter 5186. Patriarch, what you're doing is too much. Aren't you just pushing us into a pit of fire? If we leave, what will happen to the curse? When will we be able to be like normal people and come and go as we please? That's right, Patriarch. Aren't you extinguishing our last shred of hope? You're too cruel. We've been obedient to you for so many years, but in exchange you're so stubborn. It really bitterly disappointed us. Yi Rodi, what you're doing is putting us in a desperate situation where we'll never be able to rise again. Are you our clan leader or our enemy? Do you really have to stand on the opposite side of us? For so many years as the Patriarch, not only did you not make any changes for us, you even put us in a desperate situation. We just wanted to make changes for our descendants, but you obstructed us in every possible way. What are your intentions? Countless members of the Green On tribe hurled insults at him. Even Jiang Chen was shaken. These fellows really couldn't tell right from wrong. Or perhaps they had already lost their minds because of that bastard Qin Chi. Yi Rodi was also very anxious. Those who won the hearts of the people could rule the world. But now he had completely lost the hearts of the people and had lost the support of everyone. These people wanted nothing more than to expel him from the Green tribe. As a patriarch he was too much of a failure. Now he could clearly see the nature of the matter. This Xianxia had completely blinded the eyes of his tribe members, and used a rather extreme method to challenge his bottom line. Now that Yi Rodi was completely isolated, he had no other choice. On the left was the life and death of his tribe members, and on the right was their curse that had lasted for millions of years. Yi Rodi was worried that no matter which side he chose he would regret it. But he had no other choice. In order to protect his current tribe members he had to do this. Jiang Qin might be right because even though he had defeated Xianxia, he did not choose to take advantage of the situation. In the face of absolute benefits no one could stay out of it. Xianxia had grasped the obsession in the hearts of the Green tribe members, so he could lead them by the nose. At a time like this, Yi Rodi, who cared about the overall situation, became their enemy and stood against them. Yi Rodi wasn't wrong and neither were the members of the Green tribe. It was just that they had different thoughts. Looking at his tribesmen falling one by one, Yi Rodi couldn't stay out of this. He had to protect his tribesmen first. Otherwise, even if the curse was lifted, wouldn't it be a fatal blow to the Green tribe if all of them died? Right now, Yi Rodi was stuck in a difficult situation, unable to extricate himself. Most of the clan members didn't understand what was going on. They had already unleashed their inner obsessions and had become Xianxia's right-hand men. They had pushed themselves onto the guillotine and that would be a disaster. Therefore Yi Luodi had no other choice but to follow what Jiang Qin had said, pointing the spearhead at Xianxia. Only by making Xianxia unable to move a single step forward could he be freed from his misery, and only then could his people understand him. It was impossible for him to point his blade at his fellow countrymen. If he could take down Xianxia he would be able to change the situation. All of you shut up. It's none of your business who I want to kill. Let's see who dares to stop me. Yi Rodi bellowed. As the leader of a tribe he now knew how difficult it was for him to do so. See? He's angry from embarrassment. Do you really think he's doing this for your own good? Do you really think Yi Rodi has no selfish motives? For the sake of the Green tribe's curse, I've come here at all costs. Do you still want to doubt me? Do you know how stupid your choice is? Xianxia sneered. He's doing this for his own power, for his own vanity. That's why he's stopping you. Who am I? I'm the ancestor of your Green tribe. I'm not bound by the curse and I can come and go as I please. After I've lifted the curse I'll still leave. What selfish motives could I have? To be honest, Kuewood planet is a barren land. If Lobos hadn't found me, do you think I would have come here to ask for trouble? Who am I doing all this for? Isn't it all for you? I want you to escape this abyss of suffering, but you've disappointed me. Xianxia's voice was full of emotion. He's your patriarch, but he's afraid of losing his power and his position as patriarch. That's his goal. If all of you get rid of your curses, geniuses will rise up and become stronger and stronger. Will you still listen to someone who's weaker than you? At that time will he still have the ability to be the patriarch? Clearly there will definitely be people who won't accept it. Even he himself is apprehensive. He's afraid that everything he has now will become an illusion. He doesn't want you to be free of the curse. Once you're free you'll be out of his control. Xianxia was getting more and more agitated as he spoke. Moreover, you'll grow stronger and he'll fade into the crowd. He's been the patriarch for so many years and he's the oldest among you. But with the rise of geniuses he'll no longer have the strength to support the heavens and earth. The people he once trampled underfoot are all rising up now. If it were me I wouldn't be able to take it either. This is the vanity that power has brought him. He's blinded by greed. He's not fit to be the patriarch of the Green tribe. This is our only chance. If we miss it we might lose our lives forever. You've advanced wave after wave and even if so many of you died, you didn't hesitate. It's all for the sake of future generations, for the sake of our descendants. But what about him? He's stubborn. He's probably afraid that the paper can't wrap the fire any longer, so he's pointing the spearhead at me. Yi Luodi, you're really scheming. Xianxia laughed loudly. His glib tongue left Yi Luodi speechless. Because anything he said now seemed to be quibbling. Ancestor Xianxia is right. We've all been deceived by that old man Yi Luodi. From the beginning, perhaps he didn't want our Green tribe to change. That way everything would still be up to him. Once we change he'll no longer be our patriarch. So that's how it is. Listening to ancestors' words, it's really enlightening. Ilori, don't even think about changing us. At this moment, Lobos raised his arm and roared, "We can't let him succeed. We definitely can't let him succeed. Brothers, protect Ancestor Xianxia. Even if we die, we will have no regrets. For our descendants, kill." Lobo's words completely ignited the rage in the hearts of all the Green Light Tribe members. They began to slaughter and kill the scorpions. At the same time, some people rushed towards Yirodi, blocking his path to Xianxia. Damn it. This is infuriating. A thief calling a thief. You deserve death. If I don't kill you today, I, Yiluori, swear I'm not a human. For the Green-On race, I'll kill you here even if I die. Yiluori flew up and charged at Xianxia. He was a peak star state, but his power had been dormant at peak star state for too long. Even a half-step cosmic cloud state was no match for him. Hence he wasn't afraid of Xianxia at all. Chapter 5187. Yiluori's power was very ferocious. It was evident that he could become the leader of the Green Mang race. At this moment he was burning with rage. Xianxia had angered him to the point that his eyes were glowing. In Xianxia's eyes he was a selfish person. And the people of the Green-On tribe actually believed him. He could die, but he definitely couldn't suffer such humiliation. This was a fatal blow. Yirodi could die, he didn't care as long as he could help the Green-On tribe remove their curse. But now was not the time. If he died now, it would be meaningless. Moreover, it would allow a traitor like Xianxia to drag the Green-On tribe into the bottomless abyss, the hell of Avicii. It would be impossible for them to leave this place alive. If they were all wiped out, who would be able to save the Green-On tribe? At this moment, Yirodi had placed all his hopes on Jiang Chen. Although he didn't know if Jiang Chen could help them, at least this man wouldn't send his people to their deaths. He wouldn't mislead them with lies and he wouldn't distort the truth. Right now he was feeling a little regretful. How could he have trusted this bastard back then? This bastard had no regard for human lives at all. He didn't even treat the people of the Green-On race as humans at all. Facing Yiluori's deadly attack, Xianxia didn't dare to underestimate him. After all, he was the leader of a race. Although he couldn't reach the half-step cosmic cloud state, his years of accumulation couldn't be underestimated. In this battle of life and death, fatal attacks were unleashed. "Ancestor Jiangchen, save me!" Di Luo screamed. Di Luo let out a miserable shriek. One of his arms had been directly snapped off by the scorpion. Everyone had fallen into a passive state. Out of the original 400 people, only 200 were left. They were still fighting bravely. Jiangchen frowned. His heart was stirred. No matter what, Di Luo was the one who brought him here. Jiangchen wouldn't just watch him die and leave him to die. With a slash, the scorpion was cut in half. However, at this moment he was indeed heavily injured. His face was pale and blood was gushing out. He was about to die. However, he was still hanging on to his last breath. "Ancestor Jiangchen, I beg you, please save our Green-On family. I know that the patriarch is right. That Xianxia is a devil. He doesn't care about our lives at all. There are so many scorpions we can't rush through them. Only death awaits us. He even asked us to eliminate the dissidents." Di Luo's eyes were filled with despair. Although more than half of the scorpions had already been killed, it was all exchanged with the blood of their brothers. If this continued, the stubborn clansmen would all die here. They would all become Xianxia's sacrificial pawns, becoming his suicide squad, and finally their bones would be buried here. Jiang Chen nodded. He had finally decided to take action. Although these scorpions weren't ordered by Xianxia, he wanted to stimulate the courage of the people of the Green-On family to fight the scorpions to the death, exhausting their strength and making them all die here. His goal had been achieved. He had found the sacrificial ground. He didn't need the people of the Green-On family anymore. More than half of the Green Mang race had died. Some of them were filled with fear, but their herd mentality didn't allow them to retreat. They could only brace themselves and fight to the death. For the sake of freedom, for the sake of breaking the curse for their descendants. Jiang Chen's heart was complicated. He felt sorrow for them. They weren't in the wrong. They were just used by Xianxia. Now that they had found the sacrificial ground, they were no longer of any use. Seeing their brothers and family fall one by one, their sorrow grew. Sacrifice and death. No one was right or wrong. As long as they could see hope, it was worth it. But they couldn't see hope. Xianxia's words had led them to a dead end. They became more and more intense, more and more frenzied. Pitiful people were hateful in some way. But they were truly pitiful. Di Luo had pleaded bitterly and Jiang Qin still couldn't overcome his own hurdle. He could only watch as they died. This was the revival of a race and their hopes for the future. Although their deaths were pitiful and worthless, they were the unsung heroes of the Green Mang race. It was just that even in death they didn't know who they were fighting for. Jiang Qin wanted to find the secrets of the Green Mang race and he wanted to obtain the power of the stars. He wanted to contribute a little to them and that would make him feel better. 5 elements trigram fire array. Jiang Qin growled. Sword chi shot out in all directions. Beams of fire descended from the sky, forming a wall of fire that separated the scorpions from the 5 elements trigram fire array. Scorpions were afraid of fire, and Jiang Chen's 5 elements sacred fire was an existence that could melt all things. The trigram fire array sealed thousands of miles and it illuminated the entire square. Countless scorpions were turned to ashes by Jiang Chen's 5 elements trigram fire array. Roar roar. Ah! Shrill screams reverberated between heaven and earth. Jiang Qin moved forward, sweeping away everything in his path. He killed hundreds of scorpions alone, shocking everyone. Di Luo murmured as he looked at Jiang Chen's ancestor. His heart was filled with excitement. Only he can be the savior of the Green Mang race. In less than a quarter of an hour, Jiang Qin had killed all the scorpions. At this moment the people of the Green On clan fell into silence, speechless. They were grateful to Jiang Qin, but they couldn't deny ancestor Xianxia's encouragement to them. Out of the 400 people only 100 or so were left. The dead Green On family members had all turned into ghosts. The remaining 100 or so people were speechless. Each of them looked battered and exhausted. Even if they didn't die they would at least lose a layer of skin. These scorpions were playing with their lives. Luckily Jiang Qin saved them at the most crucial moment. On the other side Yi Luodi wasn't so lucky. Although he was strong he couldn't beat Xianxia. Xianxia was a half-step cosmic cloud state after all. He completely suppressed Yi Luodi and heavily injured him. But at this moment, Xianxia didn't seem to want to waste time with them. 3 consecutive palm strikes heavily injured Yi Luodi. Yi Luodi almost lost his combat power. His face was pale as he retreated. Motley crew court death. Xianxia sneered. At this moment the Green Mang race fell into hesitation. They didn't know who to listen to. Ancestor Xianxia sacrificed himself for their future, but Jiang Qin saved all of their lives. This Xianxia is really troublesome. Jiang Qin murmured. At this moment he also planned to fight Xianxia, at least he wanted to see what kind of background this guy had. Previously when they fought they only used the Star Force. Xianxia didn't even use his full strength. This time the two of them wouldn't hold back their strength. Chapter 5188. The sinkhole grew larger and deeper. The entire square seemed to be shaking. Everyone's eyes were on it and their hearts were filled with shock. How can this be? Could it be that the curse had leveled up again? Didn't Ancestor Xianxia say that lifting the curse is just around the corner? Yeah. Such a big sinkhole. Why do I feel like a cold wind is blowing? Look, there seems to be something in that sinkhole. Such a big sinkhole. What could possibly be inside? Scorpion, it's still a scorpion. Someone exclaimed. However, this time shock was written all over their faces. Jiang Chen's face darkened. It was indeed a scorpion. But this scorpion was hundreds of times larger than the previous ones. It was also densely packed with scorpion legs. There were hundreds of them and everyone paled and felt their scalps go numb. Isn't this a little too terrifying? What a terrifying Scorpion King. We just killed their descendants. Looks like this Scorpion King is completely enraged. Shock was written all over everyone's face as they trembled in fear. This gigantic scorpion was truly too terrifying. Jiang Chen's heart sank. The strength of this Scorpion King made him feel suffocated. This wasn't an ordinary demonic beast. As the leader of this group of scorpions, the Scorpion King was obviously infuriated when it saw all of its offspring being killed. Roar, 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 the angry roars expressed the Scorpion King's rage. It was as if it wanted to devour the heavens and earth. This guy, we can't deal with it. Yi Luodi's face was pale as he muttered. This Scorpion King was too shocking. Everyone from the Green Light tribe felt a great pressure. Qin Lu stood beside Jiang Qin, her face solemn, ready to fight. Although many knew that this Scorpion King was terrifying, they had no choice but to fight with their backs against the wall. That might not be the case. Your ancestor Xianxia is very capable. Jiang Chen's lips curled into a faint smile as he looked at Yi Luodi. Yi Luodi stared at him in disbelief. When the nest is overturned, no eggs will remain intact. Jiang Chen's eyes were incomparably cold. At that moment Yi Luodi's heart was also filled with joy. It seemed that Xianxia was going to fight against the Scorpion King. Otherwise they would all die. You want to use me? In your dreams. Xianxia said coldly. He wasn't afraid of Jiang Chen at all. However, he was already prepared to leave this place. He couldn't stay here any longer. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. The Scorpion King hated everyone on the scene. Hundreds of scorpion legs showed how ferocious and dreadful this monster was. That's not up to you. Do you think you can go wherever you want? If you don't kill this Scorpion King today, don't even think about going anywhere. Jiang Chen looked at Xianxia with disdain. Both of their gazes met once again. Are you trying to scare me? Do you really think that I, Xianxia, am scared? Who do you think you are? Do you really think I can't kill you? In this world nobody can control me. You lowly races go to hell. This Scorpion King is your nightmare. Unfortunately I'm going to leave now. None of you can stop me. You're destined to become the food of this Scorpion King. Xianxia laughed arrogantly. Ancestor Xianxia, how did he become like this? How? That's impossible. Ancestor Xianxia, you can't just leave us here. Ancestor Xianxia, didn't you say that you're going to help us remove the curse? Xianxia. So this guy is a big liar. Countless people were excited. However, they still couldn't believe it. How could Ancestor Xianxia go against them? They were still waiting for their Ancestor Xianxia to help them. But now they were abandoned by their Ancestor Xianxia. This was too sad and despairing. Including Lobos and the others, they were all fooled. Ancestor Xianxia, whom they were so proud of, was now treating them as a lowly race. Moreover, he even abandoned them like a pair of worn-out shoes. Who could accept this? Their hopes, their efforts, and their struggles had all turned into illusions, crushed by Xianxia with a single stomp of his foot. Their dignity was not worth mentioning. In Xianxia's eyes, their deaths were like drinking water. He didn't care about them at all. Everything he had said and done before was a lie. Xianxia had finally revealed his fangs. They had solemnly vowed that Ancestor Xianxia would give up everything for them. Their efforts would be recorded in the annals of the Green On tribe's history. It was as if everything beautiful had been destroyed in an instant. Their hearts were chilled to the bone and filled with despair. Turned out that Xianxia had always been a big liar. It turned out that they had wrongly accused their patriarch. At this moment, Xianxia's thoughts were as clear as day. Xianxia was about to leave, and the lowly races like them would all die under the iron hooves of the Scorpion King. That was why he would reveal such a sinister and cunning side. From start to finish, Xianxia had never thought highly of these people. This lowly race wanted his protection. It was simply wishful thinking. Bastard. You're an unforgivable bastard. Xianxia, you'll die a horrible death. 3/4 of our people are dead. So many people are dead, all dead. The main culprit is Xianxia. We will not live under the same sky as you. The people of the Green On race were enraged. They couldn't stand the scene in front of them. They had been played like monkeys. Indeed, they were all monkeys. Even Qinlu couldn't help but sigh when she saw this scene. A pitiful person would definitely have a hateful side to them. However, they had become so lowly and helpless. At this moment, when they were once again facing the threat of death, only then did they realize how pitiful and ignorant they were. Erodi was incomparably emotional. A prodigal son was more valuable than gold. These were his descendants, his family. Therefore he had never cared about them. However, as the patriarch of a race, he would not be able to lead them out of the enemy's ranks. A bunch of ants. Now all of you will die. You will die a worthy death. Consider this a contribution to me. But you are too foolish. In your next life, don't be so foolish. Xianxia laughed maniacally. He held his head high, looking down on everyone else. At this time, the Scorpion King had already climbed out of the pit. It had completely sealed off their path of retreat, making it difficult for them to advance or retreat. I'll go. Xianxia wanted to fly straight towards the altar, but he didn't expect that he would actually be trapped here. How could this be? Xianxia's heart chilled. Open for me. Like a mad bull, Xianxia dashed forward. But in the next second, it was as if he had hit cotton, bouncing back. How could this be? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Xianxia roared, his face extremely ugly. The altar was right in front of him, only one step away, but he could not cross it no matter what. Chapter 5189. Xianxia suddenly turned his head to look at Zhou Xian. That's right. In my array not even the Heavenly King can escape. Zhou Xian smiled. Xianxia's face was extremely ugly. The Scorpion King was closing in on them. Zhou Xian wanted to drag him down with them to fight the Scorpion King. Bastard, you despicable, shameless dog. Xianxia was hysterical and furious. Tisk tisk. Compared to being despicable, you seem to be even better. Ah, come on, fight with me. Zhou Xian looked at him coldly. At this time Rodi also laughed loudly. He was indescribably happy. Just like what Zhou Xian had said before, when the nest is overturned, no eggs remain intact. Even if they died, they would drag Xianxia down with them. Zhou Xian's words infuriated Xianxia. He was about to enter the altar, but now he couldn't even move a single step forward. He couldn't get close to the altar at all. He was actually trapped here by Zhou Xian. Zhou Xian didn't seem to be able to do anything to him. Now they were all on the same side. On a run? Not a chance. Xianxia had schemed and calculated everything. He did not think that he would lift a rock and smash his own foot. This was too depressing. But at this time, Rodi could not help but slap the table and give Zhou Xian a thumbs up. Little friend Zhou Xian, you are really amazing. This old man admires you. Ah. Rodi's laughter made Xianxia even angrier. His face was pale and his anger soared to the sky. But Xianxia had tried many times to no avail. Right now he had to fight even if he did not want to. The arrow was knocked on the bowstring, but it had to be released. Xianxia's tragic fate made all the members of the Green On tribe extremely happy. Originally these people were Xianxia's diehard fans and they strongly supported him. However, they had been tricked by Xianxia and so many of their brothers and relatives had been harmed. This debt made them hate Xianxia to the bone. Bastard. Even if I die, I'll drag him down with me. That's right. This bastard has done us no small amount of harm. Our Green On tribe will definitely fight him to the death. If we die, he won't live either. Otherwise, we'll perish together. Everyone was already prepared to succeed or die trying. In any case, so many of their loved ones had died. In order to avenge their loved ones, they absolutely couldn't let Xianxia escape this calamity. Xianxia's face was as gloomy as water. Looking at the angry faces of these people, his heart was flustered and exasperated. He was not afraid of these people. In his eyes, the people of the Azure On race were trash. What he was most worried about was the 100-legged Scorpion King that had already risen. This big fellow might very well devour all of them and kill them here. What was even more hateful was that this bastard had actually silently trapped him in the formation, leaving him with nowhere to hide at all. Seeing that danger was approaching, he had no way out. If this went on, they might all perish here. This was a life or death match. He had cut off his escape route. This Zhou Xian was really a ruthless person. Xianxia gritted his teeth. But at this time it was too late to say anything. He had already been schemed against and the main culprit was Zhou Xian. Now he was a little regretful. Why didn't he kill this bastard earlier? Now he had actually failed miserably. I will definitely kill you with my own hands. Xianxia glared angrily at Zhou Xian. You might not have that chance. Come on, let's attack together. Once we kill this Scorpion King, we will have a chance to fight to the death. It won't be too late then. Your opponent right now isn't me. Zhou Xian shrugged as he spoke. He strolled leisurely, calm and unruffled. Roar roar, all of you must die. Before Xianxia could go berserk at Zhou Xian, the 100-legged Scorpion King had already completely stood up from the pit below the square. Its 100 zhang body was unreachable. Its 100 feet swayed and its momentum was unstoppable. Zhou Xian was facing a formidable foe. No one could stay out of this battle. Xianxia also knew that he was at the juncture of life and death. The members of the Green On race put down their prejudices and faced the enemy together. At this time there was no right or wrong to speak of. Whoever could survive would be the strongest. Rumble. The Scorpion King's body moved, rolling over with a loud rumble. A centipede. This time Zhou Xian had truly witnessed it. Be careful. Zhou Xian glanced at Qin Lu and prepared to fight. At this time, Zhou Xian was not worried that Xianxia would not act. If he did not, everyone would die. How strong this Scorpion King was would depend on whether he could withstand the attacks. Jiang Chen flew up and launched a heavy punch. No one would doubt his strength as a 9th heavenly layer star realm expert. However, Xianxia was quite wary when he burned the scorpion just now. Looks like this fella is quite something. But now the formation had trapped all of them. Jiang Chen had silently tied all of them together. Xianxia knew that there was no way out for him. Xianxia gripped his spear and rose up, attacking aggressively. He did not dare to be careless. He did not understand array techniques, but he knew that being trapped here meant that he had no chance. He could only fight with his back to the wall. Only by killing the Scorpion King would he have a chance to kill Jiang Chen. Otherwise he would be trapped here by a beast. Xianxia would not be satisfied. Yirodi did not dare to be careless. At this time he once again led the members of the Green On race to fight the Scorpion King to the death. All members of the Green On race, fight with me. Bloodthirsty Scorpion King. No one dared to question Yirodi's status. If he had not fought to the death to defend the last line of defense against Xianxia, they would not have been able to see Xianxia's true colors. Jiang Chen and Yi Luodi fought side by side, taking the lead while Xianxia followed closely behind. Everyone fought the enemy together. The battle became more and more intense. However, the Scorpion King's strength had given everyone a shock. The centipede was like a blade and no one could fight against it. Everyone rushed forward to face it head-on. However, these terrifying legs were extremely frightening as well, causing everyone to shudder in fear. Everywhere it passed, several members of the Green Brilliance race were unable to dodge in time. Their bodies were torn apart and they were in utter despair. These people were not even at the star level 7. Their speed could not keep up with the Scorpion King at all. Even though it was such a gigantic Scorpion King, its speed was still terrifying. Jiang Chen unleashed fiery chi from his palm and formed a series of hand seals. Fiery dragons soared into the sky and smashed towards the Scorpion King, but in the end, they could only leave a small mark on the Scorpion King's body. They couldn't break its defense. Chapter 5190. A bunch of lowly insects. You killed my disciples. You're all going to die. The Scorpion King's deep and heavy voice carried a hint of bloodlust as it reverberated throughout the plaza, causing everyone's eardrums to hurt and their scalps to go numb. This guy is too strong. Are we all going to die here? Yes, leader. This guy is too strong. We're no match for him at all. We can only make meaningless sacrifices now. Jiang Chen, aren't you capable? Why don't you think of a solution? What should we do? We can't all die here and be wiped out. Yes. Jiang Chen, think of a way. We're all relying on you. At this moment, all the members of the Qingmang race weren't as arrogant as before. All their hopes were gathered on Jiang Chen because they knew that Xianxia was exposed by Jiang Chen. Moreover, he could use a formation to trap Xianxia here. He would definitely be able to lead them out of this land of death. But at this moment, Jiang Chen shook his head. There was no way. They could only fight head-on. This Scorpion King was strong, but he hadn't broken through to the cosmic cloud state. Otherwise, none of them would be able to escape. The biggest problem now was that this Scorpion King was too big. Moreover, its defensive power was incomparably shocking. It was impossible to break through its defense. It was impossible to injure it. Xianxia, it's time to show your true power. Jiang Chen looked at Xianxia and said with a smile. After that, Jiang Chen did not look at him anymore. He turned around with the heavenly dragon sword in his hand and soared into the sky. The sword chi swept across 90,000 li and the sword light swept across the heavens and earth. Everyone was shocked. Jiang Chen, who was holding the heavenly dragon sword, looked like a god of war. He was extremely terrifying. Edited by Lifer Fingerfox. Is this Jiang Chen's true power? Too strong. So he's been hiding his power. I feel like I'm suffocating when I look at this sword. We're both level 9 star states, but why do I feel like I'm trash? There's no need to feel. Be more confident. You're just a piece of trash. The people of the Qingmang clan were shocked by Jiang Chen's strength. He was too handsome, too valiant, giving people a shocking feeling. Even Yi Luodi was ashamed of his inferiority. Although he had never really fought with Jiang Chen, this man was simply beyond his reach. Sword 31. Sword 32. Jiang Chen directly used the dragon transformation, holding the heavenly dragon sword in his hand. His aura was shocking, like a terrifying sharp knife, piercing into the enemy's heart. Exquisite sword chi traversed between heaven and earth. It was as if the entire space had solidified. A series of sonic booms rang out. The instant the sword light descended, even the Scorpion King was forced to take several steps back. Deep sword wounds appeared on his body, but his foundation was still not completely damaged. Damn it! You lowly reptile, you actually injured me. I'm going to tear you into pieces. Facing Jiang Chen's unstoppable sword Qi, the Scorpion King was obviously a little scared. He must kill Qin Qi before he could rest easy. In an instant, the Scorpion King turned his pincers, and dozens of scorpion legs came crushing over, completely blocking Jiang Chen's path. Jiang Chen pulled out his sword and looked around, slashing horizontally and vertically. The limitless sword was at the pinnacle, sweeping everything in its path. But no matter what, he couldn't break these scorpion legs. This Scorpion King's defense was already ridiculously strong. It could even be described as abnormal. Jiang Chen's sword 32, although it couldn't be said to be invincible, it was still an existence that could break through almost everything. Coupled with the sharpness of the heavenly dragon sword, it was absolutely unparalleled. But now it seemed that it still couldn't break through the defense. Everyone's face was full of shock. Jiang Chen had been surrounded by dozens of scorpion legs, and there was no way for him to advance or retreat. At this time, Yi Luodi also raised his arm and called for all the members of the Qingmeng clan to gather once again. They absolutely couldn't let their only hope to fight alone. At this time, Qin Qi knew that he couldn't stay out of this anymore. He originally wanted to muddle through, but this Scorpion King was indeed abnormally strong. It gave him a headache. If he didn't deal with this guy, he wouldn't be able to move an inch in the future. Each scorpion leg of the Scorpion King was extremely sharp. It was extremely poisonous and had an unparalleled aura. Even if it was Jiang Chen, he was also in a dilemma after being surrounded by dozens of scorpion legs. Although the heavenly dragon sword was sharp, it wasn't invincible. During the battle, Jiang Chen's situation was constantly being compressed. And now, Qin Qi was forced to take action. Qin Qi certainly wouldn't reveal all his cards at this time. He pulled Qin Qi into the same boat to let him contribute his strength. Only in this way could he become calm. God-hunting spear. Heaven's moat changes the road. Qin Qi released his black spear. The spear pierced through the clouds, stirring up the universe, and smashed horizontally towards the Scorpion King. The god-hunting spear was like a tiger, carrying a domineering aura. Qin Qi also displayed his power, holding the divine spear in his hand like an unparalleled heavenly sovereign. He was a half-step cosmic cloud state after all. At this time his powerful strength was not inferior to Jiang Chen at all. This battle of life and death had finally begun. Jiang Chen's mouth curved up into a faint smile. The two glanced at each other, each with their own thoughts, but their goal was the same. Only by killing the Scorpion King would they have a chance to escape. Break the blue dragon formation alone. Qin Qi once again soared into the sky, traversing the void, breaking through the sky and descending from the sky with lightning speed. Jiang Chen's eyes turned cold. The heavenly dragon sword's momentum changed again, and it complemented Qin Qi's brilliance. The Scorpion King's roar grew louder and louder. Its huge body twisted and its scorpion feet flashed continuously, forcing everyone to be careful. Yi Luodi and the rest also retreated one after another. They could only force the Scorpion King in front of them. The real main force still had to rely on Jiang Chen and Qin Qi, otherwise, they would definitely suffer. How frightening. The strength of these two people is practically on par with each other. Although Qin Qi is despicable and deceived us, one has to say that his strength is very terrifying. Jiang Chen is not bad too. For a 9th heaven star state to have such combat power, it is indeed unprecedented. Perhaps we still have hope in this battle. Chapter 5191. One Sun Finger. Double Dragon Finger. Three-fold Finger. Four-directional Finger. 4 finger imprints descended from the sky and struck out consecutively. The powerful force crushed downward, crushing everything in its path like a hot knife through butter. Bang, 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 bang. Countless finger imprints were left on the Scorpion King's body. Even the Scorpion King was forced to retreat. At this moment Jiang Chen and Qin Qi were fighting each other in pairs, and began to launch a frenzied counterattack. Qin Qi looked at Jiang Chen in shock. This guy gave him quite a shock. He was able to display extraordinary strength at this time and was completely unafraid of the Scorpion King. He was even stronger than the patriarch of the Qingmeng tribe, Yi Luodi. This was his confidence. Although Xianxia hated Zhou Xian, he could only let go of the grudge at this time. After all, they were facing a life-and-death enemy. Only by killing the Scorpion King could they settle the score. Zhou Xian took the lead at this time and blocked many attacks for the Qingmang tribe. The centipede Scorpion King's strength was astonishing. It was easy for him to fight against 100 people. The Qingmang tribe finally knew who their savior was. Yi Luodi followed closely behind Zhou Qian's footsteps and began to charge rapidly. All of this was their own fault. Zhou Qian was the only one who could stay out of this, but he chose to advance and retreat together with the Qingmang tribe. He was not like Xianxia, who schemed and planned to kill all of them in the end. Unfortunately, there was reincarnation. Zhou Qian used a formation to trap Xianxia, forcing him to submit. Now that everyone was united against a common enemy, they could have a chance to survive. Although the Qingmang tribe could not turn the tide, they were definitely a force that could not be underestimated. Therefore, Xianxia did not want to be entangled with them and planned to kill them here. The more the heavenly dragon sword fought, the more valiant it became. The terrifying sword momentum completely allowed Zhou Qian to take the initiative. He attacked crazily. Limitless sword, supreme realm, omnipotent. Cracks finally appeared on the Scorpion King's body under Zhou Qian's desperate slashes of sword qi. Even its exterior defense began to crack. Zhou Qian's speed was fast enough that the Scorpion King couldn't catch him. The larger one's body was, the more restricted one's speed would be. Even the Scorpion King was no exception. That was why Zhou Qian was able to seize this opportunity. Ancestor Zhou Qian is really too strong. Di Luo murmured. At this time he was the only hope of the Qingmang clan. He had made a great contribution to the Qingmang clan this time. One after another, the heavenly green monkeys attacked with all their might. Such spirit was worthy of him to feel proud of. Qin Lu followed closely behind, leading the Qingmang clan in a crazy counterattack. She had never understood why Zhou Qian still had hope for the Qingmang clan. Now she understood. It was not that the Qingmang clan discriminated against Zhou Qian. Even if they died, they could not let their descendants continue to sink and suffer the torment of the curse. This was a fearless suicidal charge and also their swan song for life. It was worthy of praise, worthy of fighting bravely while bathed in blood. 5 Elements Finger. Zhou Qian pointed to the sky, the power to uproot mountains. The power of the 9 Tribulation heavenly imprisoning finger had once again undergone a qualitative transformation. The 5 Elements Finger gathered all of Zhou Qian's Genesis Qi and pierced through space, as well as the Scorpion King's body. The 5 scorpion legs were instantly torn apart. The 5 Elements Finger seemed invincible. What a terrifying finger technique! Xianxia mumbled in his heart. However, he could not afford to be careless at this juncture. This was the best opportunity. Zhou Qian had already pierced through the Scorpion King's body, and Xianxia had to take advantage of this opportunity to take his life. Xianxia brandished his spear, his aura intimidating like a supreme sovereign. He stirred the wind and clouds as he stepped on the waves. The black hole-like spear pierced through the clouds, causing the surrounding space to change color. The Scorpion King's scorpion legs began to crazily smash downwards like pincers. Terrifying pincers were everywhere, seemingly capable of crushing a person to pieces. Giant craters were smashed everywhere as Xianxia continuously tumbled down, retreating in order to advance. Spear of Chaos, heaven opening form. Xianxia did not look sideways as he gripped his spear and attacked again. All of his Genesis Qi poured into the spear in an instant, making it unstoppable and unstoppable. The spear pierced through space, unbridled and unbridled, descending from the heavens like a guest from outer space. The domineering spear carried an unstoppable aura of destruction, filling the Scorpion King with wariness as it began its desperate counterattack. You're dreaming if you think you can kill me. The Scorpion King let out a furious roar. It raised its legs to the sky, wanting to block Xianxia's spear even if it had to die. A loud boom rang out as Xianxia's spear light destroyed dozens of the Scorpion King's legs. But at this time the Scorpion King's weak spot was exposed. Zhou Qian coldly chuckled as he found an opportunity to begin his counterattack. The heavenly dragon sword was like an azure dragon emerging from the sea as it slashed across the sky. A row of scorpion legs were cut down by Zhou Qian's sharp sword light as the Scorpion King's wails rang out incessantly. Good. We're saved. Zhou Qian is mighty. Countless people cried out in surprise, joy filling their faces. They had finally seen the hope of survival. Although Jiang Qin and Xianxia's cooperation was not that good, the two knew how to find the other's weakest point to attack at the crucial moment. They also knew how to use the simplest method to complete the greatest attack. If you want me to die, you'll have to die with me. The Scorpion King inhaled and exhaled madly at this moment. Waves of mist spread out, bringing with it an incomparable poison. Everyone paled. The celestial azure monkeys at the very front were enveloped by the mist, instantly losing their ability to fight. Their bodies began to fester as they were in excruciating pain. In less than 10 seconds they had turned into puddles of pus. Quickly run, this Scorpion King's poison is too strong. Yi Luodi's pupils constricted as he watched his tribesmen fall into puddles of blood as he roared. Everyone's expression was gloomy as they trembled in fear. 6th or 7th heavenly layer star realm experts turned into puddles of pus after coming in contact with the poison. It was too terrifying. Not only them, even the divine weapons in the hands of the celestial azure monkeys had turned into ashes. It was enough to see how strong the corrosive power of this poison was. Retreat! Jiang Qin roared. This was the first time he had seen such a poison mist. These weak people could not withstand it at all. Only death awaited them. Xianxia's expression was also sinister as he pulled out his divine spear and rapidly retreated. At the crucial moment he could only avoid the tip of the spear. However, although Xianxia and the rest had all retreated, Jiang Qin did not because his body was impervious to poison. Jiang Qin's hand came in contact with the poison mist. Instantly, his palm turned purplish-black and rapidly spread to his arm. Chapter 5192. Qin Lu's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Seeing that Jiang Qin had already been corroded by the poisonous mist, everyone's hearts were trembling in fear and disbelief. If Jiang Qin died, they definitely wouldn't have any way to escape. This guy is simply courting death. Xianxia frowned and sneered. However, if he died, the formation would collapse on its own. It would be even easier for him to escape. Little friend Jiang Qin. Yi Luodi also took a deep breath. Jiang Qin represented their life and death. If Jiang Qin fell, it would be equivalent to announcing the death of the Greenon tribe. To them this was undoubtedly fatal. Under my poisonous mist no one can survive. Ah! The Scorpion King's complacent voice reverberated between heaven and earth, causing everyone to feel a terrifying sense of despair. However, Jiang Qin was unruffled and turned a deaf ear to it. His body trembled and the fire qi in his body instantly spread throughout his entire body. The purplish-black poison was instantly cleansed completely. This poisonous mist of yours is really ordinary. Jiang Qin shook his head and said disapprovingly. Qin Lu heaved a sigh of relief. Her pretty face was filled with anxiety. It turned out that big brother Jiang Qin was using his own body to test the poison. It was really frightening. Looking at the pus in the pool of blood, Qin Lu was really afraid that big brother Jiang Qin would become like them in the next second. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. The Scorpion King roared. This poisonous mist of yours was emitted at the cost of your own flesh and blood. Right now your body shouldn't be as strong as before. If I'm not wrong, this poisonous mist is a sacrifice of your flesh and blood. You're indeed vicious, but you're also an arrow at the end of its flight. Jiang Qin said in a low voice. He had long been immune to poisons. In this poisonous mist he could already feel that it was the Scorpion King's flesh powder that he had activated. These things were his trump cards, but after activating the flesh powder his body would also suffer varying degrees of damage. If it wasn't for the fact that he was in a life and death situation, the Scorpion King wouldn't have used such a method. However, what he didn't expect was that he had encountered a rather terrifying old poisonous creature. He was poisonous, but Jiang Qin was even more poisonous than him. Even when his entire body was enveloped by the poisonous fog, Jiang Qin remained calm and unruffled. In the end he even broke the Scorpion King's poisonous fog. Nonsense, you're courting death. The Scorpion King roared, but in Jiang Qin's ears, it sounded like it was putting on a brave front. Because everything Jiang Qin said was true. His body had become very weak right now, and such a large amount of poisonous fog must have come from his body. If that was the case, everyone could only flee for their lives. Even if you can withstand it, let's see how they can withstand it. As long as my poisonous fog spreads, they will all die and none of them will survive. Let's see how long you can be arrogant. When that time comes, you will be the only one born. If I want to kill you, it will be as easy as taking something out of my pocket. The Scorpion King Lung Lung said. In my eyes, this poisonous fog trick of yours is really nothing. Jiang Chen said with a smile. 3,000 Flames Dragon Seal. Jiang Chen struck out with a palm print that could devour mountains and rivers. The palm print spread out and instantly covered the entire void. All of the poisonous mist was burnt to ashes. At this moment, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. The dreadful poisonous mist had finally dispersed completely. Young friend Jiang Chen, you're really amazing, Yirodi said sincerely. Yirodi said sincerely. All their worries were now gone. Damn it. The Scorpion King's voice became extremely angry, but there was nothing he could do. You're courting death. The Scorpion King launched another attack. Countless scorpion feet came crushing down. This time Jiang Chen did not dare to be negligent. He faced the incoming attack and pointed to the sky, intending to fight the Scorpion King to the death. This was because Jiang Chen was very clear that the Scorpion King was at his weakest now. If he could kill him at this moment, everything would be fine. The Scorpion King had turned his flesh into poisonous fog. Now that he had completely lost his fighting strength, Jiang Chen decided to fight him. This touch further confirmed Jiang Chen's thoughts. This fellow had completely turned into a wax spearhead that looked good on the outside but was actually useless. He's at his weakest now. Qinqi, what are you waiting for? Jiang Chen said in a low voice. Qinqi squinted his eyes and the poisonous fog dispersed. Jiang Chen dared to fight the Scorpion King with his current strength. It seemed that this guy was really like what Jiang Chen said, an arrow at the end of its flight. Although he was hesitant, Qinqi still made his move. At this moment, under the joint attack of the two, the Scorpion King's strength was not as strong as before. Most importantly, his defense had also decreased by a lot. Jiang Chen's deduction was completely correct. In order to kill them with poison, the Scorpion King had turned his flesh into poisonous fog. Now his strength was naturally greatly limited. Whether it was Jiang Chen's Sky Dragon Sword or Qinqi's long spear, they easily pierced through his defense. It was completely different from before when they had to use all their strength to leave a small mark on his body. The Scorpion King kept roaring furiously. However, his strength was unable to return to its peak. He had used up a lot of his flesh and blood essence. His vitality had been greatly damaged. He thought that all of these people would be killed by the poison, but he had bumped into a jinx like Jiang Chen. Roar, roar. The Scorpion King's roar was filled with unwillingness. However, how could Jiang Chen and Qinqi be ordinary people? This time around, Chu Feng had completely suppressed him. Furthermore, the injuries on his body had increased more and more. Charge with me, fight this Scorpion King to avenge our dead brothers. Yirodi bellowed. All the members of the Green Edge tribe began their final charge at this moment. With the likes of Jiang Chen and Qinqi in front of them, they had nothing to fear. Now the Scorpion King had really become a soft persimmon that anyone could need. The Sky Dragon Sword continued to tear open the Scorpion King's back. His flesh was a mess and the sword chi slashed down. His protective aura was no longer as terrifying as before. It was only a matter of time before he was slaughtered. As the poisonous fog dispersed, Jiang Chen had already taken the absolute initiative. This time the Scorpion King actually began to retreat and he did not even want to continue fighting with them. However, how could Jiang Chen let him leave so easily? At this time the infinite sword was stronger than before. Under the full attack the Scorpion King had nowhere to hide. Spare me, please spare me. Chapter 5193. Jiang Chen held the heavenly dragon sword in his hand and stood proudly like a deity as he slashed at the Scorpion King's head. His heroic bearing and unparalleled aura shocked all the members of the Green On tribe. If not for Jiang Chen, they would have fallen and none of them would have been able to live. Facing the terrifying Scorpion King, they had already lost all hope. It was Jiang Chen who had regained their confidence. At the juncture of life and death, he had seen through that bastard Qinqi's plot and given them a new lease of life. That damned bastard. The Scorpion King has finally been defeated. He killed so many of our people. We must tear him to pieces. That's right. This bastard must not be left alive. He must receive the punishment he deserves. Many members of the Green On tribe were filled with righteous indignation. At this moment they wanted nothing more than to devour the Scorpion King's flesh. Exalted Immortal, Please spare my life. I know I was wrong. The Scorpion King's weak and sorrowful voice reverberated in the void and around the square. However, Zhou Xian did not hesitate. If he did not die, how would he answer to the Green tribe? So many people had died because of the Scorpion King. Such a grudge of life and death was absolutely irreconcilable. There is nothing wrong with the world. You could have continued to cultivate here in peace. However, you wanted to devour us. Isn't that difficult? Do not have the intention to harm others. Since you have the intention to kill, you should know that if you fail, only death awaits you. Zhou Xian said without batting an eyelid. Exalted Immortal, I beg you to spare me. As long as you let me go, I will tell you about the treasure in the altar. The Scorpion King said anxiously. The treasure in the altar? Zhou Xian frowned. This Scorpion King was born in this place. It seemed like he knew what kind of treasure was in this place. Otherwise, he wouldn't have revealed such a secret before his death. Zhou Xian frowned. Yes, the treasure in the altar. Didn't you come here for the treasure in the altar? The Scorpion King said solemnly. As long as you let me go, let me live, I will tell you everything. At this moment, Zhou Xian and Yi Rodi exchanged glances. Both of them were in disbelief. Whether or not the Scorpion King's words could be trusted, they did not know. However, it was an indisputable fact that he had killed so many members of the Green race. However, just as Zhou Xian and Yi Rodi were hesitating, Xianxia's long spear arrived first. Then the spear shot out like a dragon with irresistible force, directly penetrating the Scorpion King's heart. No, the Scorpion King's struggling voice rang in everyone's ears, full of difficulty and despair. At this moment, Zhou Xian's heart sank. Xianxia had attacked without the slightest hesitation. Clearly, he didn't want them to know about the secret within the altar. What a great move, Xianxia. Zhou Xian stared at him coldly. Same here. We're all 1,000-year-old monsters. Who doesn't have some tricks up their sleeves? Do you think I, Xianxia, am destined to be played around by you? Xianxia gently wiped the long spear in his hand while standing proudly, looking straight at Zhou Xian's group. This guy is afraid that the Scorpion King will reveal his secret. Chen Lu spoke with righteous indignation. He didn't even give the Scorpion King a chance to struggle before ending his life. His actions were too obvious. You're courting death. Xianxia, even if you killed the Scorpion King, you can't dominate the world. Yi Rodi pointed his sword at Xianxia, his battle intent soaring to the heavens. All of this was caused by him. The Green race suffered heavy casualties. All of this was because of Xianxia's selfish desires. He brought them into the ancient land of beacon smoke. Now it seemed like it was finally time for them to take revenge. Everyone follow me into battle. We will avenge our fallen brothers. Yi Rodi roared and took the lead to rush towards Xianxia. There was nothing more to say now. This Xianxia had been scheming all this time, and he even fooled the Scorpion King at this time. He truly harbored unfathomable intentions. Let's see if you can trap me this time. Xianxia shouted, his long spear still pointing towards the sky. Heavenly opening 6 lights. Xianxia's spear radiance was 100 zhang high, revealing its sharpness, constantly tearing apart Zhou Xian's formation. And at this time, Zhou Xian's strength had been greatly consumed. Although it was enough to support the grand formation, it was useless to trap Xianxia. Moreover, Zhou Xian knew that Xianxia must have many secrets on his body. He might as well go easy on him, withdrawing the majority of the formation's power. At the same time, he also showed weakness, making Xianxia feel that his formation wasn't enough to trap him. And Xianxia didn't care at all. His spear radiance shattered the dome of the sky. Zhou Xian's formation was slowly nibbled away by him, gradually breaking apart like ripples in the water. Xianxia rapidly retreated, heading straight for the sacrificial altar. The formation was broken. Zhou Xian staggered 2 steps back, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. His eyes were cold and sharp like a blade. Are you all right, young friend Zhou Xian? Yi Rodi rushed forward and asked. Xianxia sneered. He couldn't be bothered with Zhou Xian and the others. He didn't have time to waste with them. He directly placed a rhombus-shaped jade pendant on the stone platform. The jade pendant sank deep into the stone platform. In an instant, all the statues retreated and a gate of hell opened. Xianxia leaped down. And at this time Zhou Xian and the others quickly flew over, but in the end they still couldn't catch Xianxia's tail. Xianxia entered the underground altar, but they were blocked outside. Jiang Chen's expression darkened. Sure enough, this guy was trying to take all the treasures for himself. Now they couldn't even move an inch forward, they were completely blocked. Everyone was surrounding the altar. There was a stone pillar in the middle and there were 9 stone chairs surrounding it. Those 9 ferocious-looking men, or rather 9 different existences, all of them carried a domineering aura and were unstoppable. In the center of the stone platform, there was no longer the groove in front of the jade pendant. Jiang Chen didn't know what kind of existence it was. Originally, he had the chance to find out, but he didn't expect Xianxia to kill the Scorpion King at the critical moment without giving him a chance. What do we do now? Yi Luodi's face was gloomy. Xianxia came here because of your reputation. It's definitely not a groundless rumor. He schemed to come here and has already calculated everything. Seems like there must be a big secret on your Greenon clan. Jiang Chen looked at Yi Luodi with a smile that wasn't a smile. Clan leader Yi, does your Greenon clan have any legends about the ancient times? Yi Luodi was stunned and then laughed bitterly. Young friend Jiang Chen, you must be joking. Ever since our Greenon clan was born on the Wood Kuei star, we've suffered all kinds of dangers. We barely survived, and our legacy has been passed down from generation to generation. We can't escape the curse of not being able to live for more than 1,000 years after leaving the Wood Kuei star. If you want to talk about legends, there really is one. What legend? Jiang Chen's eyes narrowed slightly. It's the legend about the 2 great war gods. Chapter 5194. Legend of the God of War? Jiang Chen couldn't help but frown. It seemed that the matters on Kuei Wood Star were quite complicated. Patriarch Yi, why don't you tell me about it? Jiang Chen glanced at the 9 stone chairs around him and said thoughtfully. According to legend, a long time ago, there weren't so many storms on Kuei Wood Star, nor were there so many natural disasters. On the contrary, at that time Kuei Wood Star was full of birds and flowers. Many people were willing to come here. Whether it was for cultivation or leisure, it was very comfortable. Moreover, there were many spirit beasts here and many things grew. However, where there are people, there are bound to be conflicts. There were still many disputes, but they were all clashes between different clans to fight for territory. It was considered peaceful. But suddenly the Feather Clan descended. It was a great disaster for the people of Kuei Wood Star. Since then, in order to occupy the resources of our Kuei Wood Star, the Feather Clan began to expand rapidly, burning and looting. As long as it is a treasure, it will be taken by them. As long as it is a blessed land, there will be a place for the Feather Clan. Yi Luodi said in a low voice. They are robbers, they are robbers. They turned the entire Kuei Wood Star upside down. The beasts on our Kuei Wood Star were in darkness. They are beasts. The Feather Clan is not worthy of being called humans. When Yi Luodi mentioned the Feather Clan, his face was full of murderous intent. It could be seen that the Feather Clan must have harmed their Kuei Wood Star a lot. At this time, the Feather Clan said that they found a treasure on our Kuei Wood Star. So many top experts came and wanted to take our Kuei Wood Star for themselves. I only heard that the Feather Clan ordered to eradicate all living beings on the entire Kuei Wood Star. It was called the Star Assassination Plan. After that, their massacres increased and intensified. The number of people who died at their hands was uncountable. Jiang Chen had a grim look on his face as well. The Feather Tribe had never been good people from the beginning. They seemed to have become the public enemy of mankind. It was a miracle that they were still alive. Jiang Chen had killed quite a few harpies, but there were still a lot of them active in the everlasting realm. One of his long-cherished wishes was to kill them all one day and restore peace to the everlasting realm. But at this time, when the entire Wood Kuei Star was in dire straits, an unparalleled god of war descended upon our Wood Kuei Star like a deity. From then on, spring has arrived for our Wood Kuei Star. At that time, the demonic beasts of our Kuei Wood planet were oppressed by the Feather race, and we were already unable to breathe. Under the Star Assassination Plan, many extinct races even appeared. It was truly tragic and dark. The appearance of that person gave us hope. A man with a battle spear swept across the world. No one in the Feather Clan was his opponent. He went on a killing spree, and wherever he went, not even a blade of grass grew. The Feather Clan was terrified. A battle spear pierced through the sky. In those 7 days, the Feather Clan suffered countless casualties. It was called the 7 Days of Blood. The battle spear was stained with the blood of countless Feather Clan members, but it saved the natives of our Wuxia star. All the demonic beasts lined the road to welcome him, grateful for the hope and light he brought to us. From then on, he became the object of worship for all races and was regarded as our ancestor. Without him, all the demonic beasts on our Wuxia star would have been killed by the Feather Clan. Yi Luoti's voice was sonorous and incomparably solemn. This so-called ancestor was incomparably lofty in his heart. Although Yi Luoti had never seen the demeanor of this ancient peerless deity, he was still very respectful towards this legendary ancestor. Jiang Chen's heart couldn't help but move. Holding a battle spear and possessing the power of stars? Could it be Senior Longfutu? Jiang Chen extended his hand, and the dragon bone battle spear appeared in his hand. Jiang Chen looked at Yi Luoti and asked in a low voice, "Could it be this battle spear?" Jiang Chen's words made Yi Luoti tremble. His pupils constricted and his heart pounded. As the patriarch of the Green On clan, he had seen the portrait of the dragon bone battle spear. It had been passed down by the ancestors of the Green On clan. Yi Luoti looked at the dragon bone battle spear in Jiang Chen's hand in disbelief. Is this the dragon bone battle spear that the sky god ancestor used? It wasn't just Yi Luoti. All the members of the Green On clan were very excited. Many of them had seen the dragon bone battle spear in the ancestral hall. When Jiang Chen held the dragon bone battle spear, they were enlightened and excited. Was this the successor of their ancestor? This was the person they had been waiting for? The dragon bone battle spear was given to me by my master Long Futu. Jiang Chen said in a low voice. His tone was full of respect. If it wasn't for Buddha Prison Palace and the stellar transformation, he wouldn't have been able to come so far. Senior Long Futu's kindness to him was as heavy as a mountain. Back when Jiang Chen first entered the eternal world, it was all because of the stellar transformation that helped him and made him who he was. Is this really the dragon bone battle spear in our ancestors' hands? Who would have thought that Jiang Chen is our ancestor? We have wronged ancestor Jiang Chen. We shouldn't have done this. That's right. I really want to slap my own face. Ancestor Jiang Chen, please forgive us. We have wrongly accused you. From now on, Ancestor Jiang Chen is our leader. If Ancestor Jiang Chen wants us to go east, we will not go west. At this moment, the people of the Green On clan finally knew who their ancestor was. Everyone was extremely excited. They had thought that Qinchi was a fake and that they had lost their backbone. But now it seemed that Ancestor Jiang Chen was the one they had been waiting for. They were too ashamed to show their faces after framing Jiang Chen's ancestor. Now that the dragon bone battle spear was in Jiang Chen's hands, all their doubts were easily resolved. Yi Luoti's eyes were full of respect. At this moment, the person they had been searching for was right in front of them. They had failed miserably. They had almost treated Ancestor Jiang Chen as an enemy. To the Green On clan, this was a great humiliation. The flood had washed away the temple of the Dragon King. One family did not recognize another. Everyone kneel. Yi Luoti bellowed. Chapter 5195. Ancestor, please forgive our sins. By the dragon bone spear, please accept our worship. Yi Luoti led all the members of the Green Light clan to kneel down. Jiang Chen frowned and smiled bitterly. You guys better get up quickly. I'm really not used to this. But don't worry, I definitely won't disappoint you. Since my master helped you get through the difficult times back then, I won't sit idly by this time. Jiang Chen hurriedly called for them to get up. Di Luo finally had his grievances cleared. He was so excited that he couldn't restrain himself. I told you that Ancestor Jiang Chen is our ancestor, but none of you listened. Now you know you were wrong. Di Luo was as proud as a child who had eaten candy. He was surrounded by everyone and was full of pride. With Ancestor Jiang Chen here, we won't return empty-handed this time. Yi Luoti waved his arms, his excitement evident in his words. Jiang Chen also had a helpless expression. He was now shouldering a heavy responsibility. What happened next? My master wielded the dragon bone spear and killed so many feather race members. How did this happen? Now the entire Trikue planet is riddled with holes. It's practically a wasted planet. Jiang Chen asked solemnly. Ancestor Jiang Chen is right. This matter isn't over yet. However, Ancestor Longfutu was truly a god who descended from the heavens. He was invincible. He killed hundreds of thousands of feather race members and finally returned peace to our Trikue planet. Although many beasts have died, most of the beasts on the Tree Kuei planet have been preserved. As long as time passes, we can slowly recover to our peak. Ancestor Longfutu rebuilt Kuei Wood planet for us and also discovered many blessed lands and grotto heavens. However, the weather is unpredictable and good people may not be rewarded. The more Yi Luodi spoke, the angrier he became. It was obvious that he couldn't control his emotions. Is there someone behind this? Jiang Qin was getting more and more curious. It seemed that Senior Longfutu had left some traces on the Tree Kuei planet. At this time, a black-clothed man suddenly appeared. It was said that he came from the Netherworld realm. He said that Ancestor Longfutu had killed too many people and wanted to suppress him. However, Ancestor Longfutu definitely wouldn't agree. A great battle ensued. Ancestor Longfutu's strength was astonishing. Even the powerhouse who claimed to be from the Netherworld realm wasn't Senior Longfutu's opponent. However, the battle between the two was too terrifying. It shook rivers, causing space-time to collapse. Mountains and rivers turned upside down. The disaster of Tree Kuei planet also happened at this time. Although Senior Longfutu tried his best to save the planet, it was like trying to put out a burning cart of firewood with a cup of water. At this time, the black-clothed man from the Netherworld realm came again. He brought another person with him. According to the black-clothed man, the other powerhouse was known as Supremacy 9, also known as the God of War. When the two of them joined forces, even Ancestor Longfutu could only avoid them. At this time, the Tree Kuei planet once again fell into a state of collapse. All the originally beautiful things became cruel. Countless beasts fell, mountains collapsed, volcanoes erupted, storms raged. The Tree Kuei planet once again fell into a crisis. In the end, Ancestor Longfutu left in defeat. The remaining two people, the Overlord of the Netherworld realm and the powerhouse known as Supremacy 9, launched an attack. The battle between the two completely tore the Tree Kuei planet apart, plunging our Tree Kuei planet into an abyss of suffering. In less than 1,000 years, the originally beautiful Tree Kuei planet gradually declined. More and more natural disasters began to erode our Tree Kuei planet. Generations of beasts also died. Gradually, after tens of thousands of years, all the creatures on the Tree Kuei planet died. Without these creatures, the beasts that relied on each other for survival completely lost the capital to survive. In the end, our Tree Kuei planet couldn't escape the misfortune and became a veritable waste planet. Yi Luodi's words were filled with righteous indignation. However, it was all in the past. What could he do now that he talked about it? The Tree Kuei planet had already become like this. It was useless to say anything. Even Longfutu couldn't save the situation. But what shocked Jiang Qin the most was, who were these two people who defeated Senior Longfutu? Senior Longfutu was an existence that even the Eternal Lord was quite afraid of. How strong were these two people? One claimed to be from the Netherworld realm, and the other was known as Supremacy 9. Jiang Qin didn't know what kind of close relationship these two people had. But at this time he knew that the secret of the Tree Kuei planet was far from as simple as he thought. Where did those two people go in the end? Jiang Qin asked. I'm not sure. According to my ancestor, they might have perished together. The two of them were also competing for the treasure of the Tree Kuei planet. I don't know what kind of treasure it is. So many years have passed and the passage of time has long erased the traces. As for those two people, I don't know where they are anymore. Yi Luodi said with great emotion. By the way, Ancestor Jiang Qin, what about Ancestor Longfutu? Where is he now? Jiang Qin shook his head. My teacher has already passed away. Who in the world can avoid death? The world is eternal, but it can't exist forever. Yi Luodi's face was full of shame and sorrow as he silently nodded. Those two guys should also be very terrifying powerhouses. But these 9 stone chairs are a bit interesting. Could it be that they were left behind by the so-called Supremacy 9? The altar here is also very strange. Whether it's that person from the Netherworld realm or the Supremacy 9, I have to go take a look. At the very least, I have to break your curse. Jiang Qin said in a deep voice. If there was no accident, those two people and Senior Longfutu should be fighting over the core of the star. It seemed that those two people were also unparalleled powerhouses on the same level as Senior Longfutu. Their strength was not something he could guess at all. Thank you, Ancestor Jiang Qin. Yi Luodi had a face of excitement. The power of Jiang Qin's ancestor far exceeded his expectations. Even a peak star state wouldn't be at a disadvantage against a half-step nebula state like Xianxia. One could imagine that the inheritor of ancestor Long Futu must be extraordinary. No need to thank me. Let's hurry up and find out how this Xianxia got under the altar. Chapter 5196. Jiang Chen didn't know. Everything was unknown. Even Yi Luodi couldn't give him much information. But at least now Jiang Chen knew the relationship between Senior Long Futu and them. He also knew that in this Kuei-wood planet, there might still be a core of a star. And the treasure that Xianxia was looking for was very likely to be it. Jiang Chen drew in a deep breath. Now he could only hope that his natal astral soul could find the entrance. Jiang Chen released his natal astral soul and began to spread it across the entire square, searching for the entrance of the altar. After layers of peeling, the pressure on Jiang Chen's natal astral soul also increased. This was because this kind of meticulous search, not missing a single detail, was extremely painful for Jiang Chen. His natal astral soul didn't miss a single clue. Finally, the heavens didn't disappoint those who persevered. Jiang Chen finally found the entrance. There, under the stone platform surrounded by 9 stone chairs, there was a very concealed stone slab under the wall at the corner of the square. Jiang Chen flew up and with a palm strike he split open the path in front of him. Within a radius of 10 meters, all the stone slabs on the wall were shattered, and an incomparably deep cave appeared in front of everyone. It's here. Jiang Chen turned his head back and glanced at Chen Lu and the others, before he quickly flew down. With Jiang Chen's ancestor as the example, everyone didn't hesitate and followed Jiang Chen into the cave. After Jiang Chen and the group entered the underground, they immediately saw a shocking scene. There were still 9 stone chairs here, but one of them had been broken, and that was the last 9th supremacy the man Yi Luodi had mentioned earlier. Jiang Chen and the rest of the group went underground. Below the stone altar there was also a small square. But this time around there weren't as many complicated things. There were only 9 stone chairs, and on each of the 9 stone chairs, there was a jade slip. But now there were only 8 left. This should be where the 9 supremes are. Jiang Chen said in a deep voice. His heart was filled with countless thoughts. He didn't dare to underestimate Xianxia, but they still hadn't found any traces of Xianxia continuing to walk forward. It was a very large underground corridor. On both sides of the corridor, there were actually 2 very mystical demon beast statues guarding it. Jiang Chen had never heard of such a thing before. It looked like a horse, but it wasn't a horse. It looked like a cow, but it wasn't a cow. It looked like a dragon, but it wasn't a dragon. What is this? Jiang Chen frowned. This is the Pu Ting clan from the ancient times. However, the vitality of the Pu Ting clan was far from being as tenacious as our azure monkeys. So not long after that world-shaking battle, the Pu Ting clan went extinct. Could this be related to the Pu Ting clan? Yi Luodi was also very cautious, but he didn't dare to say much. It was better for him to obediently follow behind ancestor Jiang Chen. The Pu Ting clan, Jiang Chen murmured and continued to walk forward. Both sides of the corridor were filled with skeletons, which made people feel uncomfortable. These skeletons were very large and seemed to belong to large demon beasts. Jiang Chen took a closer look and found that these skeletons were somewhat similar to the Pu Ting clan's demon beasts that Yi Luodi had mentioned before. These demon beast skeletons seemed to belong to Pu Ting. Jiang Chen said in a deep voice. Everyone nodded silently. There were so many Pu Ting skeletons, there were hundreds and thousands of them. Is the Pu Ting clan really as weak as we thought? I remember that the Pu Ting clan's strength is very strong. These Pu Ting clan are all adults, how could they all die here? Yi Luodi was very puzzled. If so, it's not normal for so many Pu Ting to be buried here. Jiang Chen asked. These Pu Ting clan's necks seem to have been broken. They didn't die of natural causes or natural disasters. Jiang Chen scanned through almost all of the Pu Ting clan skeletons, but he didn't find anything different. In other words, they all died with their necks broken. Moreover, they were all neatly placed on both sides of the corridor. It was really unbelievable. Ancestor Jiang Chen, you mean that the Pu Ting clan didn't necessarily die of natural disasters or natural extinction, but were killed by someone? Yi Luodi seemed to have understood ancestor Jiang Chen's meaning. I can't rule out this possibility. Jiang Chen nodded. The Pu Ting clan was indeed a terrifying existence. It was said that they were one of the 4 great demon beasts in the ancient times. They were not simple at all. The extinction of their clan has always been a mystery. Until today no one knows the truth. It seems like there's more to this matter. Yi Luodi nodded silently. But their deaths were not the problem that Jiang Chen was concerned about. What he wanted to find was Qin Qi, the secret of this underground sacrificial altar. The only one who knew the secret, the Scorpion King, had been killed by that bastard Qin Qi. There's movement? Let's go. Jiang Chen said in a low voice. He frowned and quickly flew towards the end of the corridor. All the members of the Green Light clan hurried to catch up. Jiang Chen felt a sound ahead. It was likely Qin Qi. That guy had been here for a while. Now they could only feel the stones to cross the river. Jiang Chen and the others ran for several miles before reaching the end of the corridor. The surrounding Pu Ting clan's skeletons gradually disappeared. They came to an even larger underground plaza. The surroundings stretched as far as the eye could see, just like an underground cave. So big. It was ridiculously big, and it even made people feel like they were very small. The surroundings were filled with magma. Hot air flowed around them, making them feel extremely hot. Except for Jiang Chen, everyone else was sweating profusely. This is actually the bottom of the magma. It's unbelievable. Di Luo said with his eyes wide open. The surrounding magma was like a sea of fire. Within the magma, the remaining pieces of land looked as if they would collapse at any moment, falling into the magma and merging with it. Yeah, it looks like there's magma everywhere. There's no treasure here. What does Qin Qi want? It's hard to say. But we just have to find him. There's magma all around us. We can't get close. The temperature of the magma in front of us has reached thousands of degrees. If we get close, we'll probably be melted. That's right. The temperature is so high that even a star stage expert cannot ignore it. We might be able to resist for a while, but we won't be able to return. Everyone's faces were filled with seriousness. Although they could rely on their Genesis Chi to resist for a while, it was impossible for them to do so forever. Once all their Genesis Chi was used up, they would likely die without a grave. Qin Qi is there. Chapter 5197. So it's there. Jiang Chen smiled faintly. It seemed like they weren't too late. Qin Qi hadn't lagged behind them for too long. Although it was only a few thousand meters away, it was enough to stop them from taking another step forward. Ancestor Jiang Chen, I'm afraid that anyone below the 9th layer of the star stage will not be able to endure for long. Even a quarter of an hour is likely the limit, said Yi Rodi in a low voice. Yi Rodi said in a low voice. This sea of magma was like a tiger blocking their way. Right now they couldn't move an inch and could only watch helplessly. Qin Qi, you didn't expect us to come again, right? Shouted Jiang Chen. Qin Qi abruptly turned his head and saw Jiang Chen and the others standing at the edge of the magma sea, hesitating to advance. He immediately burst into laughter. Now you guys know how dangerous this place is. You guys should thank me. If not for me, you guys would have died long ago. You guys will not be able to endure the magma sea. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and scram. Otherwise, you will die a graveless death and be burned to ashes. Qin Qi sneered. There was no need to explain how terrifying the magma sea was. Even the strongest expert would not be able to ignore it and could only rely on Genesis Chi to defend. However, once one reached their limits, it would be the same as death, and one would likely be incinerated into nothingness by the magma sea. If not for the 9 elemental ice soul in his hand, Qin Qi would have already been unable to endure. The 9 elemental ice soul was his secret treasure that was extremely effective against the magma. With it, he would be able to use the least amount of Genesis Chi to resist the danger of the magma sea. Damn it, he's just pretending to be obedient after taking advantage of us. He must have some secret treasure that no one knows about. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to ignore the magma sea. Yi Rodi viciously said. I'm afraid that you don't have the qualifications. We will definitely find a way to catch up to you. Jiang Chen said without batting an eyelid. At this moment he could actually walk on the waves and the waves of fire above the magma. Because he possessed the 5 elemental divine fire, he did not have to worry about being pressured by any flames at all. However, the people around him might not be so lucky. If they were to make a mistake, they would be completely annihilated. Therefore, Jiang Chen did not act rashly and waited for Qin Qi's next move. Dream on. If you have the ability, come over first. I'm almost there. The treasure is right in front of you. It's a pity that you don't even have the right to see it. Qin Qi laughed maniacally. Right now he was completely unafraid of Jiang Chen. As long as he obtained the treasures, he would be able to rest easy. Killing them would be as easy as taking something out of his pocket. You think you're worthy of the treasure? Even if you get the treasure, I'm afraid you don't have the right to use it. Jiang Qin said sarcastically on purpose. You don't have to provoke me. When the time comes, you will naturally know how powerful I am. Do you see that? That golden roulette on top of the spatial cliff is the thing I've been looking for. Today I've finally obtained the indestructible golden roulette. From now on, I will be able to dominate the world. Xianxia's eyes were filled with a fiery feeling. The golden roulette on top of the spatial cliff also attracted everyone's attention. Initially, Jiang Qin also thought that it was just a flickering golden dot. But when he looked at it, he realized that it was actually a golden roulette. Seemed like this thing was absolutely not simple. Since it could make Xianxia chase after it like a flock of ducks, traveling thousands of miles to search for it, it was undoubtedly a true treasure. The indestructible golden roulette. Jiang Qin murmured. His lips curled into a faint smile. This thing, he was determined to have it. However, Jiang Qin was not in a hurry to act. At this moment, Xianxia thought that he had already obtained the roulette. Jiang Qin would show him who was the true overlord later on. Whether I'm trying to provoke you or not, you'll know in a moment. Unfortunately, everything you've done is for me. I really don't know if I should thank you or not. Jiang Qin said with a calm smile. You don't have much ability, but you sure know how to boast. If you have the ability, you should come to me first. We're separated by the sea, but I feel that you guys are too insignificant. You can't even enter my sight. Xianxia smiled indifferently, looking calm and unruffled. This guy is too despicable, bullying us because we can't get close to him. Then we'll stay here and guard him. I don't believe that he can fly to the sky or dive into the sea of magma. Yiluodi was so angry that his eyes turned green. Jiang Qin looked over. At this moment he could truly feel that this was an incomparably gigantic humanoid figure. And the indestructible golden roulette was in the giant's hand, which was also the place on the cliff that they saw earlier. Was this really a stone man? Jiang Qin didn't dare to believe it. This stone man was too lifelike. His silhouette was no different from a normal human. Most importantly, he was standing there not moving at all. He had already sunk deep into the magma and his legs were just below the magma. He was like a giant standing in the sea of magma. Wouldn't he have melted long ago? Jiang Qin shook his head. Perhaps he was too sensitive. If he was really a human, how could he be stuck in the sea of magma? Jiang Qin searched everywhere, but he couldn't find the slightest flaw. Could it be that this place was really empty and there was only a single indestructible golden roulette? Jiang Qin truly didn't feel the aura of a star's core. Could there really be a star's core here? Ancestor Jiang Qin will wait for him here. I don't believe that he can fly to the sky or dive into the earth. With so many of us here, if we work together, we can definitely defeat him. Di Luo vowed solemnly. But Jiang Qin just smiled and shook his head. Wait until he gets the indestructible golden roulette. Do you think we'll still be his match? Di Luo and all the members of the Green On clan held their breaths. Indeed, the current Xianxia was terrifying enough. If he obtained the indestructible golden roulette, his strength would definitely soar. At that time they wouldn't stand a chance. It's good that you know. It's a pity that you don't have a chance anymore. It's too late to leave. Wait until I get the indestructible golden roulette. I'll make all of you regret it. The legend of the war god back then was indeed very heroic and domineering. However, our feather race suffered a great loss because of it. This time I will definitely get the indestructible golden roulette. With the glory of our feather race, we'll trample every corner of your Tree Kuei star. Xianxia's voice was low and incomparably cold. At this moment the members of the Green On clan seemed to have woken up from a dream. So this Xianxia had been plotting this all along. He was actually a member of the feather race. What? He's actually a member of the feather race? Yiluodi's face was pale. They had actually recognized a traitor as their father. They had almost become Xianxia's lackeys. Feather race, it was the feather race again. Chapter 5198. Everyone was riled up. The people of the feather race had always been a taboo to them. They hated them to the bone. Countless of their ancestors had been killed because of the feather race. Who would have thought that this feather race person would actually sneak into their Green On race? This was a great humiliation. Damn it, Xianxia and I cannot live under the same sky. We must kill this monster of the feather race, even if we die 1,000 times. We can't let him escape. The feather race should be killed. He must die. Countless azure monkeys were eager to try, but they couldn't get close to Xianxia. Once they got close to the sea of lava, they would be roasted into dried corpses or even turned into ashes. This was not a baseless rumor. It was not just Yerodi. All the Green On race members were filled with regret and hatred. How they wished they could bring Xianxia to justice and kill him to avenge all the dead Green On race brothers. For their ancestors, they would wash away the hatred of the feather race with blood so they could rest in peace. The feather race has always been very arrogant and boastful. I just don't know if you can obtain the inextinguishable golden wheel. I have also killed many members of the feather race. Along the way, if not 100,000, I have killed at least 80,000. The people of the feather race are all a bunch of sanctimonious, sinister, and vicious people. Their deaths are not to be regretted. Today it doesn't matter if you are one more or one less. You can take revenge for the Green On race. Zhou Xian said faintly. Of course he did not have a good impression of the Yu family. This fellow was scheming. If it wasn't for the fact that he knew the secret of the ancient land of beacon smoke, Zhou Xian would have fought him to the death. But now it seemed that he had found the treasure, so Zhou Xian did not want to keep him around. So many members of the Green On tribe had died because of him. In this battle they had already lost many of their core forces. The Green On tribe was extremely furious. This was an evil tribe that had forced their Green On tribe to the brink of despair in ancient times. They had never been fond of them. Just you? Pa, are you worthy? You think I can't get the inextinguishable golden wheel, but can you? You can't even get close to the sea of magma. If you do, your soul will scatter. Do you think you are me? Do you think you have the 9 elemental ice soul? Xianxia scoffed at Zhou Xian. Without the 9 elemental ice soul, no one would be able to get close to this place, not even cosmic cloud experts. The magma here was terrifying. It was the true magma from the Earth's core. It was different from ordinary magma. This type of magma could melt anything. The magma from the Earth's core was comparable to the divine flame of the heavens and earth. Xianxia had to spend a lot of effort to avoid this divine flame. Now that he had the 9 elemental ice soul, he no longer felt any pressure. Although it was not as easy as walking on flat ground, it was still relatively easy. As long as he fought steadily, he would definitely be able to obtain the inextinguishable golden wheel. I don't, but if I want to seize this inextinguishable golden wheel, perhaps no one can be faster than me. Zhou Xian smiled. You're just bragging. Watch how I kill you after I obtain the inextinguishable golden wheel. Arrogant and conceited fellows, all of you must die. Xianxia was still so proud and confident, but Zhou Xian didn't seem to be worried that the inextinguishable golden wheel would be snatched away by Xianxia. What do we do now? He is about to get the inextinguishable golden wheel. Di Luo and the others were getting impatient. However, they couldn't withstand such terrifying lava. If they continued to advance, they would really be courting death. No rush. Zhou Xian said calmly. Iluodi was also very nervous. However, it seemed that Zhou Qian's ancestor was sitting there calmly. He wasn't worried at all. Big brother Zhou Qian, you're really calm. Qianlu was nervous. However, as long as Zhou Qian didn't move, she firmly believed that big brother Zhou Qian would be able to defeat Xianxia. The inextinguishable golden wheel is right in front of me. Who can stop me? Xianxia laughed heartily and advanced rapidly. Seeing that the inextinguishable golden wheel was within his reach, his heart was pounding. Just 20 meters and he would get the inextinguishable golden wheel. A peerless treasure was right in front of him. Who wouldn't be excited? This inextinguishable golden wheel was already in his pocket. It was within his reach. All the members of the green light race had their hearts in their throats. At this time Zhou Qian finally moved. His footsteps were light and steady as he walked towards the sea of lava. Big brother Zhou Qian. Ancestor Zhou Qian. Knew. Almost no one dared to imagine that Zhou Qian would walk towards the sea of lava as though he was walking on flat ground. At this time the lava beneath his feet actually retreated. A path of fire was born and Zhou Qian walked on it calmly. This is impossible. Fuck. How is this possible? Ancestor Zhou Qian is too awesome. The members of the green light race did not know how to describe it. Their excitement was palpable. Just now their faces were pale, but now they saw Ancestor Zhou Qian walking freely in the sea of lava. He walked on the waves of fire like a god. At this time Xianxia turned back to look at Zhou Qian. His face was green. How could this happen? Qi didn't expect Jiang Chen to have such a heaven-defying strength. He was able to move freely in the magma of the Earth's core. Moreover, his speed was extremely fast and he wasn't affected by the magma at all. Wasn't this a matter of time? Although he was only 20 meters away from the indestructible golden wheel, Jiang Chen had already rushed over as he spoke. That carefree manner, like the wind and lightning, hurt Qi greatly. He looked at the 9 elemental ice soul in his hand. It was not fragrant at all. But if he gave up on the 9 elemental ice soul in his hand, he would be finished. The lava would devour him in less than 10 breaths of time. The indestructible golden wheel is mine. Jiang Chen walked past Qi calmly. Qi's face was pale and he roared in anger. His heart was filled with unwillingness. No. Qi's eyes were wide open, but Jiang Chen was already in front of him. He was about to explode from anger. Something that was so close to him had been snatched away by someone else. Moreover, it was the person he hated the most. His cooked duck had flown away. How pitiful. No. A man should be able to accept and let go. Chapter 5199. Recalling that this person had fought with Senior Long Futu to the death, Jiang Chen understood. Experts of that level could no longer be measured with common sense. Although the heavenly dragon sword was very strong, it was still unable to reach the peak. He had to rely on his limitless sword to reach the next level. However, this indestructible golden wheel was a real treasure. Such a treasure made even Jiang Chen's heart beat faster. Qi's 2 eyes stared at Jiang Chen. Everything he had done, all the effort he had put in, all in vain. Now it was all for Jiang Chen's benefit. One could imagine his anger. Qi was so angry that he almost fainted. However, he had to admit that the current Jiang Chen was indeed terrifying. Moreover, Jiang Chen had obtained the indestructible golden wheel, which was a great threat to Qi. Ancestor Jiang Chen is mighty. 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 The cheers were like a tsunami, piercing into Qi's heart. These heavenly blue monkeys were really bastards. Oh, I'm so angry. Qi's eyes were red, his battle-intent soared to the sky. Right now he could not wait to fight with Jiang Chen to the death. The indestructible golden wheel is mine. No one can take it away from me. Yours? That's not right. Such a treasure naturally belongs to the virtuous. It's a pity that you're so immoral. That's why I got it. If you want my indestructible golden wheel, I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Jiang Chen's face was full of arrogance, he said calmly. However, the veins on Qi's face were bulging. He was already on the verge of going berserk. Jiang Chen, give me your life. Qi's heart was about to go crazy. Jiang Chen had taken away his inextinguishable golden wheel. He had planned this for a long time and had put in a lot of effort to get it, but in the end it was taken away by Jiang Chen. One could imagine the contrast between the two. No ordinary people could understand it. Qi gripped the long spear in his hand as he walked on the waves, closing in on Jiang Chen. However, his pace was extremely slow. After all, his 9 elemental ice soul still needed to be continuously instilled with Genesis Qi in order to ensure his safety. In this sea of magma, victory was not yet in his grasp. However, his anger was too great. He couldn't control his emotions. Even if he had to die, he would kill Jiang Chen. Even if Qi died, he would drag Jiang Chen down with him. The long spear was like a dragon, shaking the wind and clouds. The spear light pierced through the heavens and earth, attacking Jiang Chen from all directions. Everyone's expression was incomparably solemn and dignified. Jiang Chen did not show any mercy. He raised his sword and the sword light and the spear light intertwined. There was no turning back, both of them were charging forward, fighting to the death. At this moment, Jiang Chen finally revealed his true power. The members of the green light race were extremely excited. They didn't expect that even Ancestor Jiang Chen, who was a level 9 star state, could hold his own against Qi, who was a half-step nebula state. Moreover, he seemed very stable. Ancestor Jiang Chen is amazing. Ancestor Jiang Chen, you are our idol. Di Luo and the others were extremely excited. Jiang Chen and Qi were fighting intensely. They kept cheering for Jiang Chen. The strength of the two of them seemed to be on par with each other. For a moment no one could do anything to the other. Qi was also extremely puzzled. He did not expect this fellow to have such a powerful technique. Not only was he able to ignore the terrifying heat of the magma ocean, he was even able to exchange blows with him. At this moment, It was obvious that he had fallen into a disadvantage. The difference between their power was huge. Although it was only one level, a half-step nebula state could easily kill a level 9 star state. This was enough to tell how big the difference was. The more Xianxia fought, the more anxious he became. If this continued, he would fall into a passive position. After all, he needed to support the energy of the 9 Origin Eye Soul, and he also needed to fight Zhou Xian, which would consume a lot of his energy. A battle like this was unfair to him. Xianxia had been attacking Zhou Xian for a long time, but he still couldn't get the inextinguishable golden wheel. Not only did he not get the inextinguishable golden wheel, his morale had also been suppressed by Zhou Xian. Now, in the eyes of the Azure Monkeys, he had become a stray dog. It would be extremely difficult for Xianxia to change the outcome of the battle. Zhou Xian was walking in the sea of magma as if he was walking on flat ground. This was something that Xianxia couldn't compare to. If he continued to fight, he would only sink deeper into the quagmire and be exhausted to death by Zhou Xian. No, he couldn't just sit and wait for death. Xianxia realized that he couldn't keep fighting against Zhou Xian, so he could only retreat. After all, he wasn't an idiot. He knew how to take a roundabout route to save his country. At this moment, Xianxia kept retreating. Eventually, he retreated to the shore. What everyone didn't expect was that Xianxia suddenly turned around and aimed at the green light race. The green light race didn't expect this either. They didn't expect that Xianxia, who was originally with Zhou Xian, would eventually attack them. Shifting the blame. Xianxia knew that if the battle between him and Zhou Xian continued, it would only get more and more intense. Therefore, he simply pointed his spearhead towards the rear and killed his way into the crowd of the Green On clan. Like a wolf diving into a flock of sheep, everyone could only watch helplessly. Run! Rodi shouted angrily. All the members of the Green Light tribe began to retreat. Against Xianxia's attack, let alone his people, even Rodi did not dare say that he could withstand it 100% of the time. At this time, Xianxia was enraged. He couldn't care less. Right now, he just wanted to kill indiscriminately. Killing the Green Light race members would relieve his anger. If he couldn't kill them, he could also divert Zhou Qian's attack. His goal would be achieved. As long as he could escape from the magma sea, he wouldn't be as passive as before. You're courting death. Zhou Qian frowned. Xianxia's method was undoubtedly to escape from the battle and change the battlefield. This way he could avoid Zhou Qian's attack and escape from the magma sea. But this time, Zhou Qian wouldn't give him any chance. Today will be the day of your defeat. Prepare to die. Zhou Qian descended from the sky, joining forces with the experts of the Green Light race to fight Xianxia. The battle became more and more intense. Against Zhou Qian and the Green Light race members, Xianxia wasn't flustered. Only in the magma sea would he be shaken, afraid that he would fall into the magma and be consigned to eternal damnation. Let's see if you have the ability. Let's see if you have the ability to do that. You're not qualified to kill me. Today no one can make me admit defeat. Zhou Qian, although you've obtained the indestructible golden wheel, I won't let you succeed. Bring it on, don't make me feel like you're a sissy. Chapter 5200. 12 wings appeared on Xianxia's back. Xianxia's speed was unparalleled, and his bloodline seemed to be at the pinnacle of the feather race. No one dared to look directly at such battle power. The experts of the feather race are indeed extraordinary. But today not even the heavens can save you. Zhou Qian coldly snorted, unsheathing his sword as he prepared to battle the firmament. Come at me. Xianxia's eyes blazed. His battle with Zhou Qian grew more and more intense. Although the experts of the Green On clan had also joined in, Xianxia was still very calm. Zhou Qian could give him a lot of pressure, but among the Green On clan, the only one who could truly threaten him was Rodi. If it was a one-on-one battle, he would not give Rodi any attention. Hence, in his view, the Green On clan was just a motley crew. Even if they joined forces and appeared in front of him, they could not pose any threat to him. The long spear was still as domineering as ever. Xianxia's attack was not the slightest bit weaker than Zhou Qian's. The two exchanged blows, collided and fought to their heart's content. You do have some skill. Zhou Qian smiled as he exchanged blows with Xianxia. The limitless sword was oppressive, and a life-and-death battle began. 32 swords. The void was filled with the deafening collision of sword chi and spear light. The experts of the Green On clan gasped in amazement. Ancestor Zhou Qian had shown them what a true expert was. Such an unparalleled talent was what they should worship the most. Is this all you've got? Xianxia sneered. Divine spear of destiny, who else but me can do it? 9 spear lights descended from the sky, piercing through like a hot knife through butter, heading straight for Zhou Xian. Zhou Xian held his blade horizontally, his dragon body blocking in front of him fearlessly. His physical body was already indestructible and endless Genesis chi rose endlessly. Zhou Xian did not look sideways. His hand seals changed and the true dragon palm swept across the universe. Break. Xianxia was still fearless. Facing the fierce battle, he swept out with his spear, destroying tens of thousands of caddies. At this moment, Zhou Xian's expression became more and more solemn. At this moment, his boundless sword seemed to have undergone a significant change, because he felt that the boundless sword could still be improved and become stronger. Although Zhou Xian couldn't say that the limitless sword was invincible, this time with the improvement of the 32 sword, Zhou Xian would be able to fight with ease. No one would be able to stop his slash. The transformation of the limitless sword was ever-changing. In other words, a sword had countless forms. Once the form of the sword reached its peak, the limitless sword would be able to evolve and reach a more powerful realm. Zhou Xian was incomparably excited. The battle was getting more and more vivid. The limitless sword had already reached the pinnacle of what Zhou Xian could display. His infinite transformations were on full display at this moment. 32 swords was far from the end. I have a sword that can illuminate the mountains, rivers, sun and moon. 33 swords. Zhou Xian did not look sideways. With a sweep of his sword, the swords outside the 33 skies descended from the sky. Outside the 33 skies, the 33 sword chis gathered together. They seemed to be scattered, but they were unparalleled in the world as they merged into one. At this moment, Zhou Xian felt that his sword chis seemed to have reached a level that he couldn't believe. 33 swords. Within the universe, no sword could break the 33 skies. Gather like a ball of fire, scatter like a sky full of stars. Within Zhou Xian's body, there was boundless sword will surging. He was overjoyed. This time he could feel the improvement of the 33 swords. It had completely reached his current strongest combat strength. That kind of all-encompassing, overbearing sword momentum of being the sole ruler of the 33 heavens was unstoppable. 33 swords came from beyond the heavens, pierced through the universe and annihilated everything. This was the pinnacle of the limitless sword. What a strong sword! Xianxia staggered a few steps back, and his eyes were filled with seriousness while tempestuous waves had arisen in his heart. This sword chi is too strong. I can't even open my eyes. That's right. Ancestor Zhou Xian is indeed a 1 in a million expert. This sword technique has reached the pinnacle of all things. It's too strong. Everyone was shocked. It was hard to imagine that Zhou Xian's limitless sword had reached such a level where it could break through anything. Moreover, there seemed to be no other sword that was stronger than Zhou Xian in the entire 3 realms. If the two of them were at the same level, Xianxia would definitely be killed by Ancestor Zhou Xian. That was what everyone thought. But it was obvious that it was just a if. Even so, Ancestor Zhou Xian's 33 swords stole the fortune of the heavens and earth. It had completely transcended the mortal world. 33 skies was a limit. It was an existence that no one dared to imagine. It surpassed the 33 skies and became the #1 sword in the universe. This was the 33 swords. The 33 sword chis were like a prison that locked onto Xianxia. Xianxia had nowhere to run and could only retreat. His face was solemn and filled with disbelief. He probably wouldn't be able to block this sword. Xianxia thought unwillingly. But even if the sky fell down, he still had to live. He couldn't possibly kowtow to Zhou Xian and admit his guilt, could he? Even if he did, Zhou Xian might not give him face. Therefore, even if he died, he would fight to the death. Spear forest, blood rain, dusk of the gods. Xianxia spat out a mouthful of blood on his long spear. The blood-red spear light stirred the starry sky. It was matchless. The terrifying blood-red spear light met Zhou Xian's 33 swords. At this moment, the people of the Green Light clan held their breath. It seemed that Xianxia's technique was also shocking. Moreover, his speed was extremely fast. The spear light and the sword light intertwined. In the final charge, who would win? Everyone was so shocked that their faces turned pale. The sword chi was unparalleled, sweeping everything in its path. At this moment, Xianxia's blood screen was completely destroyed. His body was also flung away like a kite with a broken string. His entire body was trembling uncontrollably. Xianxia knelt on the ground with one knee. His face was deathly pale. The web between his thumb and forefinger had split open. He couldn't even hold his spear firmly. Zhou Xian held the heavenly dragon sword tightly. At this moment, even the heavenly dragon sword was constantly buzzing. The fusion of the limitless sword and the 33 swords could be said to be earth-shattering and unstoppable. The 33 swords had allowed Zhou Xian's strength to improve by leaps and bounds. This time it was the limitless sword that defeated Xianxia with one sword. Seeing that Xianxia had fallen in front of him like a stray dog, Zhou Xian's mouth finally curved into a smile. Chapter 5201. Kill him. We can't let him continue harming the world and harming more people. That's right. This person has committed all sorts of evil and schemes. He has harmed all of our brothers from the Green tribe. We cannot live under the same sky as him. If we don't get our revenge, we are not human. Ancestor Zhou Xian, please give us justice. Kill this fiend and let the Green tribe enjoy eternal peace. Kill, kill, kill. Xianxia's facial expression became extremely ugly. At this moment he was defeated by Zhou Xian's sword. He was in a pretty bad situation. He had never expected this to happen. This guy was at the 9th level of the star level, but he had such shocking methods and power. Who could stand this? Xianxia's situation could not be said to be optimistic, having returned in defeat and being condemned by thousands of people. Xianxia gritted his teeth and glared at Zhou Xian. He didn't seem to be afraid at all. Instead he was full of unwillingness. How much more do you know about the secrets here? Zhou Xian asked calmly, his gaze like an arrow pointed at Xianxia. Their eyes met. Xianxia sneered and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Even though he had been defeated, he still held his head high. The feather race never goes back on our words. Do you think I will tell you? If you have the ability, then kill me. You will never know the secret behind this. An indestructible golden wheel isn't enough for me to search the ancient beacon smoke grounds at all costs. Xianxia's eyes were dark. Zhou Xian knew that this guy wasn't talking nonsense. The indestructible golden wheel was indeed very powerful, but it didn't mean that a powerful feather race expert would risk his life to search for it. He must have an even greater plot, an even greater secret. Moreover, this secret was only known to him. Even for Yi Rodi, they did not know exactly what the secret was. Don't listen to his lies. Ancestor Zhou Xian, kill this fiend. Don't let him escape. Di Luo said through gritted teeth. That's right, I implore Ancestor Zhou Xian to kill this fiend. At this time Zhou Xian frowned. He had to kill this Xianxia, but now wasn't the right time. At least he had to make him spill out the real secret first. Zhou Xian didn't know what was going on. Kill me? Why don't you kill me? Pa Zhou Xian, are you afraid? You don't dare? You must be worried that you won't get the treasure, right? Xianxia sneered. For the sake of treasures, you don't even care about the lives of the Green tribe? They didn't even care about their blood feud? You even dared to call yourself the ancestor of the Green tribe. Don't you feel guilty? For the sake of treasures, you're willing to disregard your enemies and your enemies. Tiske, you've really opened my eyes. Xianxia's words caused many of the azure monkeys to become agitated. They were even dissatisfied. Zhou Xian's actions made them feel extremely awkward. It seemed like Ancestor Zhou Xian didn't care about their lives at all. Was such an ancestor really worthy of their respect? Don't spout nonsense. Don't divide us. Ancestor Zhou Xian has done so much for our Green tribe. How can you make up stories like this? Yi Rodi gritted his teeth. This fellow was obviously trying to divide them. He wanted to cause internal strife and have them kill each other. Don't kill me. Aren't you still worried that you won't get the treasure? Zhou Xian, you've really disappointed me. You've disappointed the Green tribe too. Say, you're just a coward. Xianxia's eyes narrowed as his lips curled into a mocking smile. At this time the members of the Green tribe were itching to give it a go. If you want to die, I can grant you death any time. Whether or not I want the treasure has nothing to do with you. I just want to follow the path of my master. As for the treasure, I don't care about it at all. Zhou Xian said coldly. You really know how to speak such pompous words. In your eyes, the members of the Green tribe are worthless. So many of them have died. What does that have to do with you? That's why you don't dare to kill me. You're afraid that you'll never get the secret of the treasure. You're a complete hypocrite. What else is there to say? Previously, when so many members of the Green tribe were killed by the Scorpion King, weren't you also indifferent? In the end, you only acted to trap me. You've said so much just to cover up your heartlessness. In your eyes, there's only the treasure. You don't care about the life and death of the Green tribe. We're about the same. What right do you have to criticize me? I didn't kill them either. They were killed by the Scorpion King. You don't have any pity for the trash of the Green tribe either. These pieces of trash aren't even worthy of your words. You're a sanctimonious fella. You really make me feel disgusted. Kill me, and you can avenge them. Why not? Xianxia stared at Zhou Xian with a wide smile. At this time, everyone was even more enraged. It had to be said that he didn't hold back his anger at all. He sowed dissension, causing all the members of the Green tribe to waver. They wanted to kill him, but Zhou Xian didn't. The two sides were in a stalemate, turning into two different beliefs. Looks like in his eyes we're just lowly trash. He doesn't even care about us. Yeah. He's in a high position. When has he ever cared about our lives? So it's all just our wishful thinking. Sigh, it's hard to know what's in a man's heart. There's an old saying that goes, it's hard to draw a dragon or a tiger, but it's hard to draw a bone. You may know a man's face, but you don't know his heart. Only when it's time to make a decision did you realize that the lives of the Green tribe aren't even worth mentioning in his eyes. Looks like we can only rely on ourselves. No matter how much we say it's useless. Who asked us to be so incompetent? Everyone snickered, full of self-mockery. At this time, Zhou Qian's indifference had already filled their hearts with dissatisfaction. Even Yi Rodi was somewhat silent. They hated Xianxia to the bone. Xianxia had caused so many people of the Green race to die here, and had made them run around in circles. Now that they had the chance, they didn't make a move. Who could remain indifferent? Indeed, Ancestor Zhou Xian had only acted against the Scorpion King at the last moment. Although he had killed the Scorpion King, the dead bodies of their comrades were already strewn all over the ground. Ancestor Zhou Xian, this. Yi Rodi said in a low voice. Xianxia can't be killed for now. Zhou Xian narrowed his eyes. In order to find the traces of his master, he couldn't act rashly at this time. This Xianxia deserved to be killed. He wanted to kill him, but now was not the time. Chapter 5202. He couldn't be killed? Why couldn't he be killed? Everyone's faces were gloomy. Ancestor Zhou Xian had once again touched their cake. Now they only had one goal, and that was to kill Xianxia and avenge their brothers and sisters of the Green clan. This enmity was absolutely irreconcilable. Not only had Xianxia lied to them, but he had also sent them all to hell. That was why they hated Xianxia so much. And Zhou Xian still wanted to protect Xianxia at a time like this? Wasn't this a joke? Wasn't this the same as going against the entire Green Brilliance race? This was intolerable. Although they had no enmity with Zhou Xian, and Zhou Xian had saved them at a critical moment, the truth was that they only wanted Xianxia dead. However, the truth was that they only wanted Xianxia dead. What Zhou Xian did at this moment undoubtedly made them feel humiliated. In front of Zhou Xian, the lives of their comrades weren't worth mentioning. Their deaths weren't worth regretting. How could they stand this? In an instant, Zhou Xian became the target of everyone's criticism. Going against everyone else, he was naturally nailed to the pillar of shame. However, Zhou Xian frowned and did not care. He had no such intentions. It was all Xianxia's provocation. Even though he knew it was a provocation, the Green clan hated him deeply when they saw Xianxia's arrogant side. They could not stand it anymore. Kill Xianxia. Kill Xianxia. Thunderous voices rang out in everyone's ears. Zhou Xian naturally could not remain unmoved. These Green clan members were not in the wrong. They had just been incited by others. Come on, kill me. Do it. Don't just talk. Whoever can kill me, I'll give it to you. Ha. Xianxia was still ridiculing Zhou Xian from the side. This situation made Zhou Xian even more depressed. This fella obviously wanted to turn the Green clan and him upside down before he was willing to let it go. Noisy. Since you are so eager to die, I'll chop off your arms and legs first. Zhou Qian's face was gloomy. With the heavenly dragon sword in his hand, he walked towards Xianxia. Xianxia's eyes narrowed slightly as he looked into Zhou Qian's eyes. The sinister smile on his face was evident on his face. I'm afraid you don't have the guts or the ability, Xianxia calmly said. Slowly he struggled to stand up. However, It could be said that his strength had suffered a great blow and was severely damaged. Then you can try. If you don't tell me the secret, I might really have to follow the will of the people and kill you here, Zhou Xian said. He only had one purpose, to force Xianxia to tell him the secret. However, he certainly wouldn't give in so easily. This was the only thing that could guarantee his safety. If he told Zhou Xian the secret, he might really be abandoned by Zhou Xian. At that time, the people of the Greenon family would probably chop him to death with a blade each. Zhou Xian didn't expect that Zhou Xian would give up on him. Let them go. I'll tell you. Moreover, you have to promise to let me go and not to kill me. Xianxia smiled. Your condition sounds acceptable. However, do you think that you have the capital to negotiate with me? Zhou Xian sneered and snorted. However, at this moment he already had no way out. That depends on whether you give me the chance or not. If you give me the chance, I will definitely satisfy you. As for those people, when have I ever cared? When have you ever cared? Xianxia laughed and said, completely disregarding the Greenon clan. Damn it. This Xianxia is too arrogant. That's right. Ancestor Zhou Xian still hasn't acted. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Shouts rose and fell. At this moment, Zhou Xian was like an arrow on the bowstring. He stared lung at Xianxia. Xianxia closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Let me think about it. Think about it? Qianfen frowned. What kind of trick was this guy playing? Zhou Xian did not make a move. At this moment, the Greenon clan members were getting more and more angry and anxious. Kill him quickly and avenge their clansmen. That was the most important thing. It's here. It's finally here. Xianxia mumbled. Yi Rodi froze. What's here? Crimson, what are you waiting for? Xianxia's eyes suddenly opened, his will to fight soaring. At this moment, following Xianxia's shout, a slender figure flapped his wings and flew up, landing in front of everyone. It was a man with golden hair and green eyes. He also had 12 wings on his back. He was very domineering and terrifying. Crimston's appearance stunned the onlookers who were trying to identify him. Even Zhou Xian was no exception. The pressure on him was immense. This person was stronger than Xianxia, not weaker. Zhou Xian's heart trembled. He suddenly opened his eyes and stared at the other party. It turned out that this guy had been stalling for time. He was waiting for his companions. I didn't expect that you would end up so badly. Xianxia, I really didn't expect it. Your methods are getting worse and worse. Crimson looked at Xianxia with a teasing smile. Xianxia snorted coldly, feeling extremely depressed. Do you think that you can escape just because you met him? This guy is more ridiculous than you think. Xianxia's evaluation of Zhou Xian was very high. Although he had lost, he hadn't lost to the Greenon clan. He had lost to that bastard Zhou Xian. He had been waiting for his reinforcements. He had to stall for time. Otherwise, his situation would be very difficult. He might even die. Now that Crimson had arrived, he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. There's no need to explain. I know you've worked hard, okay? Then let's join forces this time. We will definitely bring certain people to justice. Do you think you can live after offending the feather race? What wishful thinking, Crimson said disdainfully. He didn't care about Zhou Xian at all. He glared at him coldly, his desire to fight blazing. It's all Zhou Xian's fault. If it weren't for him, how could Xianxia have waited for reinforcements? This guy really knows how to drag things out. That's right. We should have killed Xianxia earlier to avoid future trouble. Why did we have so many problems? How unlucky. Now that their reinforcements have arrived, we should be the ones begging for mercy. The people of the Greenon race criticized them again, pushing the blame onto Zhou Xian. It was all because of Zhou Xian that they had lost the best opportunity to kill Xianxia in this battle. Both sides were evenly matched. In fact, they were far inferior. Zhou Xian's good days were coming to an end. Chapter 5203. Now that danger was upon them again, the feather race was here personally. 2 half-step cosmic cloud states were holding the fort. The green light race felt an invisible pressure. These 2 half-step cosmic cloud states weren't something they could imagine. They already hated Xianxia to the bone, but Zhou Xian didn't kill him no matter what. This made them extremely annoyed. However, Zhou Xian was their savior. At this moment they could only clench their teeth in anger. Zhou Xian's success and Zhou Xian's failure. Zhou Xian frowned. It seemed troublesome indeed, but he had his reasons for not killing Xianxia. The green light race was completely blinded by hatred. In their eyes there was only revenge. They didn't care about anything else. The secret of the beacon smoke ancient land Senior Longfoot's footprints, and their curse were all closely connected. If Xianxia died they wouldn't be able to move an inch. Revenge was their top priority, but it didn't mean they had to be driven by hatred. Yi Luodi's expression was solemn and nervous. The appearance of Kristen had caused the Green On clan to feel suffocated. They had no way to retreat. Their only hope now lay on the shoulders of ancestor Zhou Xian. Needless to say, Xianxia had been stalling for time and waiting for his comrades. Now that Kristen appeared and the two of them combined perfectly, Zhou Xian was indeed a bit troublesome. From the beginning, Xianxia was fearless because he had a secret with him. Even if Zhou Xian was angry at him, he wouldn't be able to kill him. As long as the reinforcements arrived, it would be time for him to show his strength. The feather race never acts alone. Kid, this day next year will be the day you die. Xianxia stood proudly and said with disdain in his eyes. Although Zhou Xian had defeated him, no one knew who would have the last laugh until the very last moment. The winner takes all. Only those who survived could write history. I really don't know what kind of attitude you'll have when you've spent so much effort to do all this, but in the end it's all for naught. Zhou Xian said with a smile. Despite facing a powerful enemy, Zhou Xian was still as calm as a mountain. Even Clinston was shocked. This kid had some courage. Although Xianxia was injured, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. With two half-step cosmic cloud states joining hands, they would have no way out. You seem to be a little too concerned. I think you should be more worried about your own situation. Otherwise, if you die too miserably, how can the people of the Green On clan regard you as their ancestor? I'm very curious. How would they feel if I beat you into a pig head? Xianxia laughed wildly and said in an arrogant manner. In his eyes, Zhou Xian was already his prey, there was no place for him to hide. That's enough, old Qin. Let's hurry up and make our move. We don't want anything to happen if we delay. This guy can defeat you, so he's not easy to deal with. It's better to end this quickly. I don't like to drag things out. Clinton furrowed his brows and said in a low voice. Sure, I'll kill you first to end this worry. Zhou Xian, prepare to die. Xianxia took the lead and fought fiercely. He didn't care about his previous embarrassing state at all. With Kristen holding the line, killing Zhou Xian would be a piece of cake for the two of them. Good. No matter how many feather race people come, Zhou Xian will kill them all. If one comes, I'll kill one. If two comes, I'll kill a pair. Zhou Xian's eyes were as sharp as swords. He jumped up and the three clashed. Zai, why is Ancestor Zhou Xian doing this? Isn't he looking for trouble for himself? If he took care of Xianxia earlier, this wouldn't have happened. That's right. But perhaps Ancestor Zhou Xian has his own difficulties. I think Ancestor Zhou Xian is going to be in danger in this battle. He asked for it. He thought he could run amok in the world. Now he finally knows that there is always someone better than him, right? Such people don't deserve sympathy. I think you are the one who doesn't deserve our sympathy. After all, Ancestor Zhou Xian has saved us. If it wasn't for him, I'm afraid we would have been dead by now. How can you be so ungrateful? He did save us, but it's not certain who will win this time. Won't we still die? What's the difference between that and not saving us? Everyone had their own opinions. The people of the Green Dawn race were looking forward to it. However, very few of them believed that Zhou Xian could turn the tide. After all, those were two half-step cosmic cloud states. No matter how heaven-defying your power is, you might be able to defeat one, but what about two? Do you think Goddess Luck will always be on your side? What a joke. Your end is coming. Crimson descended from the sky with the divine hammer in his hand. He was like an overlord of the heavens, arrogant and domineering. The pressure that the divine hammer gave off made people's scalps go numb. That kind of might was hard to resist. This is the 8 God Hammer. It's your fortune to die to it. My God Hammer has killed more than 10 cosmic cloud states. Lin Sun stood proudly in the sky. His eyes were burning with fire. Accept your death. Crimson was the first to attack. The heavy hammer in his hand smashed down, and it was as if 1,000 caddies were pressing down. Rumble. With a loud bang, the sky changed color. The hammer of the 8 gods turned from a small hammer to a huge hammer that fell from the sky. They had never seen or heard of such a divine weapon before. All the members of the Green Light clan turned pale with fright and instinctively retreated. Zhou Xian frowned and his expression turned solemn. He never thought that this fella had some skills. The 8-god hammer was really not simple. Without hesitation, Zhou Xian casted out the dragon transformation and the ancient soaring dragon technique, pushing his strength to the limit. He struck out a palm like a thunderbolt from the clear sky, soaring up to the sky and meeting the terrifying divine hammer in an instant. A deafening bang was heard. Dust and magma were splashed everywhere. Zhou Xian roared and looked up at the sky. He forcefully stopped the 8-god hammer with his palm. The force of 10,000 caddies was like taking a stroll in the park in his hands. Stop it! Zhou Xian stopped the hammer with one hand. It was like he was holding a cauldron with one hand. It was domineering. In an instant, everyone was shocked. When his lover heard this, even Yi Rodi and the other members of the Greenon tribe were astonished and in disbelief. This power was too terrifying. He used the power of one hand to stop a divine artifact. Zhou Xian was unperturbed by the pressure of Mount Tai. Chapter 5204. Zhou Xian stood proudly between heaven and earth, fearless. His eyes were as sharp as blades, filled with murderous intent. Activate! Zhou Xian roared. With stellar transposition he pushed the divine artifact up. In an instant a series of sighs rang out. Crimson gripped the divine hammer in his hand. He was extremely furious and his eyes were filled with anger. Even his own face had been damaged at this moment. This guy really had some tricks up his sleeve. He was afraid that something might happen and he was determined to kill him. Xianxia and Clinton glanced at each other and quickly made their moves. Two figures, one in front and one behind, chased after Zhou Xian and crushed down. They were like two rays of light that came from beyond the heavens, approaching Zhou Xian. The entire magma ground became icy cold. The surrounding temperature plummeted. The people of the Greenon race sighed deeply. They focused and didn't dare to be careless. Zhou Xian held the heavenly dragon sword and slashed down. His chi was like a tiger that could devour 10,000 li. He was fearless even though he was fighting two enemies at the same time. The ancient soaring dragon technique had almost raised his strength to the half-step cosmic cloud realm. Although there was still a gap, it wasn't that big of a difference. At this moment Zhou Xian finally started a hearty battle. The two experts of the Yu family, a 12-winged expert, launched their final attack at this moment. Zhou Xian had taken away the inextinguishable golden wheel that Xianxia had been longing for. At this moment, they were naturally infuriated and refused to let this matter go. In their eyes, no matter if it was Zhou Xian or the people of the Greenon family, their deaths were not to be regretted. There was no doubt that they would kill Zhou Xian and take the golden wheel. Where the spear pointed, Xianxia took the lead. He had lost to Zhou Xian before, but this time he had Clinton, his good brother, to help him. He would definitely be able to get back at Zhou Xian. Spear patterns shot out in all directions like dazzling fireworks. However, only Zhou Xian knew how terrifying these spear patterns were. Being hit by them would result in death, being hit by them would result in injuries. The limitless sword allowed him to advance by retreating, advancing step by step, advancing and retreating. Zhou Xian was in a completely invincible position. Even if he were to face the pursuit of the two, he would be able to take a leisurely stroll in the park and deal with them calmly. Wind God's hammer, heavenly stem wind. Crimston's brows were like swords. He gripped the divine hammer in his hand and swung it down. Violent winds rose and danced chaotically in the air, stirring up the surrounding lava into a tornado. The members of the Greenon race were so frightened that they shivered. Die. The hammer of the wind god swept up a gale that tore and tore, roaring in the air, causing people to tremble in fear. Zhou Xian sneered. Without hesitation, he stood up with his sword and faced the stormy hammer calmly. Eternal immortal wind. As the fierce wind around Zhou Xian rose, the two wind-blade-like storms collided with each other and dispersed with a loud bang. Both of them retreated and fought evenly. The blood in Zhou Xian's body boiled and he felt extremely satisfied. This Crimson really did have some skill. Interesting, very interesting. Crimson raised the divine hammer in his hand once again. He was enraged and his strength was enough to shake the heavens. Countless hammer shadows filled the sky, clashing with Zhou Xian's limitless sword. The long spear pointed forward and the heavy hammer pressed down. The two of them fought Zhou Xian, one in front and one in the back. Zhou Xian was also very excited. This kind of battle was too exciting. It had been a long time since he had met such an evenly matched opponent. Most importantly, his 33 sword could finally be put to good use. Facing two formidable opponents, he swung his sword in an incomparably overbearing and domineering manner. The improvement of the limitless sword, the 33 swords swept across the sky and suppressed the 33 heavens. That kind of supreme dominance was the essence of the limitless sword. The realm of the 33 swords had reached the state of no desire, no self and no sky. If they were at the same power level, Zhou Xian could easily suppress these two half-step cosmic cloud states. But now it wasn't that easy. Although they weren't real cosmic cloud states, the difference between the star state and the cosmic cloud state was worlds apart. Even though Zhou Xian used his means and power to barely close the distance between the three, ordinary people would have lost already. Zhou Xian fought fiercely. His sword moved with his heart. The domineering sword shadows didn't lose to the two's attacks at all. Lightning God's hammer, absolute lightning. The divine hammer in Crimston's hands moved once again. Streaks of shocking lightning interweaved continuously within the divine hammer. This frightening scene made everyone shudder in fear. This lightning is too terrifying. I feel that if I were to be hit by this hammer, I would definitely die without a burial place. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that I would be annihilated. It seems that Ancestor Zhou Xian is really going to lose this time. Yeah, such powerful means, and they're both half-step cosmic cloud states. Even if his means are heaven-defying, he would still lose his wings here. Can't you guys hope for Ancestor Zhou Qian's good fortune? Both sides are evenly matched now. Why would he lose his wings here? I think those two guys are the ones who are going to lose their wings here. This kind of person only has himself to blame. If he had killed Xianxia earlier, then this wouldn't have happened. When they saw these juniors chattering endlessly here, everyone's hearts were in a state of turmoil difficult to imagine. Nonsense. All of you shut up. A bunch of ignorant fools. Ancestor Zhou Xian naturally has his own plans for doing this. Eventually Yi Luodi yelled and told everyone to be careful with their words. Although Zhou Qian's situation wasn't very clear, he wasn't in a passive position either. Hence, the two of them might not be able to suppress Ancestor Zhou Qian. Everything was still unknown. Thunder and lightning covered the earth, shattering the void. Streaks of lightning pierced through heaven and earth, lingering around the divine hammer. That kind of terrifying aura was breathtaking, causing people to not dare to speak loudly. The beautiful light struck the ground, shaking the mountains and turning the rocks to dust. 9 bolts of lightning flashed across the sky, bringing with them the energy to destroy the heavens and the earth. They fell from the sky towards Zhou Qian. Zhou Qian waved his hand and punched heavily. Even Qin Lu was silent. Brother Zhou Qian will be fine, right? Even though he had faced many powerful experts in the past, none of them had been as powerful as these two. Even back when he had single-handedly protected Mount Eastchen, he hadn't been as powerful as these two. Even she couldn't keep her cool. But when she saw Big Brother Zhou Qian's calm and unruffled expression, she felt that Big Brother Zhou Qian would be fine. From the looks of it, your methods are only SOS. Zhou Qian looked on coldly from the sidelines, disdainful. Then have a taste of my hammer. Chapter 5205. As the hammer fell, lightning bolts descended from the sky, completely locking onto Zhou Qian. Everyone gasped. Zhou Qian had nowhere to retreat or hide. I wish to merge with lightning. Lightning come. Zhou Qian's voice was like a bell rumbling like thunder. In an instant the lightning dragons on his body swirled. 5 dragons coiled around his body, lightning crisscrossing everywhere. Sky-severing drought lightning. Dawn sky golden lightning. 1,000 flame destruction lightning. This. Even Xianxia was stunned. He didn't expect Zhou Qian to have so many terrifying lightning bolts on his body. 5 lightning dragons soared into the sky, pouncing on Criston. Criston gripped the hammer in his hand and swung it out. One strike was enough to shake the heavens and earth, but the 5 lightning dragons instantly cancelled out his lightning god's hammer. Criston was sent flying, his eyes filled with panic and nervousness. Everyone was shocked and aghast. No one had thought that Zhou Qian would be able to break through Criston's lightning hammer. Moreover, Zhou Qian's 5 lightning dragons flew upwards and devoured the heavens, forcing Criston to retreat and putting him in a difficult position. Fire God's hammer. Heavenly fire ablaze. Criston swung his hammer again at the crucial moment. A single spark of fire swept out, engulfing the 5 lightning dragons. But at this time Xianxia shouted, "No. He's immune to the heavenly fire." Before Xianxia could finish speaking, the fire god's hammer had already descended from the sky. But Jiang Chen's eyes were still calm. "5 elemental divine fire, listen to my command. Devour." Jiang Chen commanded the 5 elemental divine fire. In an instant, the 5 elemental divine fire covered the sky, completely extinguishing Kristen's flames. On the contrary, the 5 elemental divine fire suppressed Kristen so much that he couldn't breathe. His entire body was injured by the 5 elemental divine fire. Xianxia was also affected and his expression changed drastically. Not only had the divine hammer failed to suppress Jiang Chen, but it had also almost been swallowed by Jiang Chen. This made Kristen extremely angry. Luckily, Xianxia used his divine spear to force back Jiang Chen. In an instant the world spun. Kristen was shocked. They had completely lost the upper hand. Jiang Chen was fighting 1 against 2, but he was still so calm. The 2 half-step cosmic cloud states were furious. "Despicable fellow, this bastard, why is he so abnormal? Even the 2 of us couldn't defeat him?" Kristen looked at Xianxia with a serious face. At this time both of their eyes became extremely solemn. They couldn't go on like this. If they continued to be suppressed by Jiang Chen, how were they going to fight in the future? The indestructible golden wheel wasn't the only treasure in the ancient beacon smoke land. If they were to reveal their strength now, then they would very likely lose the initiative in the upcoming battle. They originally didn't plan to take action unless they had no other choice, but they didn't expect that it would be a matter of life and death right now. A peak stellar level fellow had forced them to such a state. It had to be said that in the past millions of years, no one had ever forced them into such a miserable state. It was truly shocking. How could Xianxia not want to end the battle quickly? However, Jiang Chen's strength was just too abnormal. Previously, Kristen didn't believe it, but now he finally understood his pain. Now Kristen had lost his initial sharpness. Both of them were looking at each other at the same time. It was time to show their true skills. If they still couldn't kill Jiang Chen, they would only feel more and more uncomfortable. Even now they probably couldn't move an inch. Jiang Chen fought 1 against 2. The 2 masters could only sigh. The people of the Green Mang race became excited again. From the beginning to the end, the only person who truly believed in Jiang Chen was Chen Lu. Even Yi Luodi and Di Luo were hesitating. They didn't dare to believe that Jiang Chen could really turn the tide. 2 half-step cosmic cloud states could almost destroy the foundation of the Green Mang race. Yi Rodi didn't expect that there would be so many experts appearing at the same time in a remote and desolate place like Kuei Star. Without a doubt, Xianxia and the others must have come for the treasures, but Jiang Chen might not be the same. He was brought here by Di Luo, so he had always been very secretive. No one knew how strong he was, or when he would be invincible enough to kill all the powerful enemies in front of them. "Old Qin, we need to show our true power. Otherwise, people will really think we are easy to bully," Kristen said through clenched teeth. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness and determination. "Okay." Xianxia nodded. They no longer had any other choice. If they continued to remain silent, they would only become stepping stones for others. Therefore they had to take the initiative to attack. When it was a matter of life and death, there was no need to care so much. "I will fight to the end. Don't be a spearhead that looks good but is useless," Jiang Chen said with a deep voice. His eyes were filled with a sneer. These 2 fellows weren't easy to deal with. It looked like he couldn't leave this district at all. If not, he might really fail miserably. If it wasn't Jiang Chen, any other half-step nebula experts would have died without a grave. Both of them were the true masters of the feather race. Their power and status couldn't be underestimated. Both of them were elites among the half-step nebula experts. The combination of their swords was extremely terrifying. Moreover, the 2 heavens had worked together for so many years. Even if they fused their swords together, they would be in perfect harmony without any hindrance. Such opponents were extremely terrifying. Then you need to use a good move. Otherwise you will die without a grave. Xianxia sneered. He joined hands with Kristen and attacked again. The wings on his back continued to grow larger and larger until they reached an unimaginable size. The wings covered the sky and blocked everyone's vision. Xianxia and Kristen each had 12 wings, and they completely covered the space around them. 24 wings without feathers formation, shouted Clinton. He flew up into the sky, and from his 12 wings 12 white bone shadows flew out. They covered the sky. At this time, everyone's eyes were focused on them. They couldn't believe it. The bone shadows within the 12 wings were like 12 heaven's cone nails descending from the sky, blocking off the entire area. Chapter 5206. 24 bone silhouettes danced in the sky, stabilizing the universe. In an instant, white feathers covered the sky and earth as they shuttled back and forth between the heavens and earth. Every single feather brought along a terrifying cold light as they shuttled back and forth. The two of them pointed at the universe, sweeping through the heavens and earth, causing everything in the world to be overturned by those feathers. The sky was filled with barren wastelands. The feathers shot out in all directions and penetrated the world. Such a terrifying formation. Each and every one of these feathers is a deadly weapon. Yes, such a terrifying feather formation. This feather race's master really can't be underestimated. I really don't know how these two guys did it. The means of the feather race are really hard to defend against. The power of their combined formation is infinitely close to a cosmic cloud state. This time, Ancestor Xianxia probably won't be as calm as before. Sigh, fate really makes fools of people. Everything is destined. If we killed Xianxia earlier, how could there be such a variable? The people of the green light race were both happy and worried. However, the current situation wasn't optimistic for them. Xianxia was trapped in the 24 featherless wings formation. He was in a dilemma. Xianxia, prepare to die. This time, you won't be able to escape even if you have wings. Kristen gritted his teeth. He could finally get revenge. No matter how cocky this guy was before, he would have to kneel and beg for mercy now. The 24 featherless wings formation was their trump card. It was supported by their own feathers and wings, completely fusing with the formation. Moreover, with the two of them working together, their strength was greatly enhanced. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were in perfect harmony. Xianxia's expression was solemn. At this moment, facing these two fellows, he dared not underestimate them. He had to use all of his strength. However, he had to admit that this 24 featherless wings formation was much stronger than he had imagined. Most importantly, this formation had fused their bloodlines, the dragon bones in their wings, and the feathers on their bodies to form this formation. Xianxia was trapped in the formation, so he could only use all of his strength. Sword 31. Sword 32. Sword 33. Xianxia fought the heavens with all his might. Within the formation, feathers filled the void and shot down unceasingly. It was exactly the same as his Ashura sword formation. However, the Ashura sword formation was much sharper, and it was built on a peerless divine weapon. This 24-winged featherless formation relied on their own bodies to unify the formation. Hence the difference between the two was not small. Facing the endless rain of feathers, they were like the wind and lightning, they were like the edge of a blade. They were flying around recklessly and filled with a terrifying aura. Everyone held their breath, not daring to underestimate them. If they missed even a little bit, Xianxia might lose his life. Above the heavenly dragon sword, there was a constant clanging sound. Feathers danced in the air. Millions of feathers covered the surroundings. The formation was ever-changing. Under the control of the two of them, there was nothing they couldn't do. In fact, it was even better than before. Xianxia and Crimson were very excited. They could finally get back at them. On the other hand, Xianxia couldn't move an inch. It was difficult for him to keep going. There were even some wounds on Xianxia's body. If it wasn't for his dragon transformation, which was like the indestructible Vajra body, Xianxia would have been torn to pieces. There were just too many of them. Xianxia couldn't defend against all of them. Even the limitless sword couldn't block all of them. These feathers could be said to be all-pervasive, making one's scalp numb and unbelievable. At this time, Xianxia realized that these two guys were playing a war of attrition with him. Although Xianxia wasn't afraid at all, a war of attrition was very torturous. Most importantly, he had lost his initial calmness. Facing the 24 featherless wings formation, he was exhausted and at a disadvantage. Xianxia didn't have any chance to fight back. If this went on, he would be eaten away by his opponents. The indestructible golden wheel doesn't look bad. I wonder if this guy can break the formation? Xianxia murmured in his mind. The indestructible golden wheel was a true divine weapon, and Xianxia had high hopes for it. But too bad, it had fallen into Xianxia's hands, which made Xianxia very depressed. Therefore, even if he had to risk his life, he had to kill Zhou Xian and take back the indestructible golden wheel. Not only that, Xianxia had been cheated by Zhou Xian twice and was still brooding over it. If he didn't take revenge, he wouldn't be a gentleman. Zhou Xian didn't have a solution for the time being, so he could only give it a try. If he could use the indestructible golden wheel to break the formation, he might be able to break out this time. Zhou Xian retreated in order to advance. He gripped the indestructible golden wheel in his hand and continuously poured his Genesis Qi into it. In an instant, Zhou Xian felt a terrifying rebounding force shoot out from the indestructible golden wheel. Zhou Qian's heart trembled. The heavenly dragon sword spirit in his hand faced the indestructible golden wheel at this moment, barely suppressing the indestructible golden wheel's fierce sharpness. In the next moment, Zhou Xian could feel that the indestructible golden wheel seemed to be carrying with it a tremendous change. It was like a wild horse that had broken free from its reins. It was filled with endless violence and rage, and it was trying to break free from its seal. It wanted to soar into the sky. The indestructible golden wheel was completely out of Zhou Qian's control. If not for the heavenly dragon sword spirit suppression, the indestructible golden wheel would have already escaped Zhou Qian's control. Zhou Qian was incomparably shocked in his heart. The indestructible golden wheel also had a weapon spirit? The heavenly dragon sword spirit was a peerless dragon spirit. But what was the indestructible golden wheel's weapon spirit? Zhou Qian did not know. However, an earth-shaking roar suddenly rang out from the indestructible golden wheel. The indestructible golden wheel continuously rotated, as if it was about to fly to the top of the sky and escape from his hand. Zhou Qian's pupils shrank. Before the previous wave had subsided, another wave had risen. He had yet to break free from Xianxia and Crimston's formation, and now even the indestructible golden wheel was about to escape from his hand. Wasn't this guy too powerful? Zhou Qian had not activated the indestructible golden wheel when he first obtained it, but now it seemed that this guy was not simple at all. It was as if there was a spirit trying to break free from the indestructible golden wheel. The golden wheel was spinning faster and faster, and it was getting stronger and stronger. Zhou Qian threw his glance onto the indestructible golden wheel, and he discovered that the golden wheel was slowly transforming into a golden bird, and it had 3 legs. A 3-legged golden crow? Chapter 5207. The 3-legged golden crow flapped its wings, and a fiery light covered the sky and the earth. The 3 heavenly flame chains were barely able to entangle it, but the speed of the 3-legged golden crow was getting faster and faster, which shocked Zhou Qian. He was afraid that he would not be able to control the indestructible golden wheel any longer. He wants to activate the indestructible golden wheel. Stop him. Xianxia said in a deep voice. His pupils shrank and he increased his power. The feathers of the 24 wings featherless formation became faster and more numerous, which made it impossible for Zhou Qian to defend himself. This guy wants to activate the indestructible golden wheel? Does he have the strength to do so? Maybe he will be devoured by the indestructible golden wheel. Crimston said with a sneer. His eyes were extremely cold. The 2 of them increased their power and the formation became more and more powerful. The 2 of them joined hands and gave Zhou Qian a fatal blow. Zhou Qian was defeated one after another. On the other side, the indestructible golden wheel was about to break free from the 3 chains. Once it broke free, the indestructible golden wheel might fly away by itself. Sword Spirit Awakening, Heavenly Dragon Transformation. Zhou Qian held the heavenly dragon sword in his hand and wanted to suppress the 3-legged golden crow. However, the sword spirit of the heavenly dragon sword was not enough to crush the indestructible golden wheel. Although he had temporarily stabilized the situation, the 3-legged golden crow was likely to gradually tear the sword spirit of the heavenly dragon sword apart. After all, the indestructible golden wheel was too powerful. Zhou Qian could imagine how powerful the indestructible golden wheel would be when it was still in its peak condition. The sword spirit of the heavenly dragon sword and the 3-legged golden crow kept colliding and canceling each other out. The 3-legged golden crow flew up, and the day it could rise to the sky was just around the corner. Zhou Qian frowned. This was not the way to go. The cooked duck must not fly away. Zhou Qian had an idea. It seemed like he could only try his last trump card. The star-picking palm could hold the sun, moon, and stars. He wanted to see if he could control the 3-legged golden crow. If the star-picking palm could not catch the 3-legged golden crow, Then he was afraid that he would not be able to turn the situation around. Star-picking palm, give it to me. Jiang Chen's eyes shone like torches. The stars of the star-picking palm shot out in all directions and directly caught the three-legged golden crow that was trying to break free. At this time, the three-legged golden crow had completely lost its resistance against Jiang Chen's star-picking palm. As the saying goes, everything has its vanquisher. Under the star-picking palm, the three-legged golden crow was caught obediently. Moreover, its eyes seemed to be filled with fear. The terrifying power of the stars made it tremble. Jiang Chen was overjoyed. He did not expect that he would be able to control the inextinguishable golden will just like that. The three-legged golden crow was almost strangled to death by Jiang Chen due to the heavenly dragon sword soul. Others might not know, but the three-legged golden crow knew the power of the star-picking palm all too well. The moment the star-picking palm grabbed him, the three-legged golden crow trembled slightly. There was only fear and despair left in his eyes. Inextinguishable golden wheel, listen to my command. Kill. Jiang Chen held the inextinguishable golden wheel in his hand. This time the inextinguishable golden wheel did not resist. Instead it began to spin. The sky and earth spun as it revealed its sharpness. The feeling of tearing apart everything and the endless void made Jiang Chen's heart palpitate. Xianxia and Kristen did not dare to underestimate it either. However, this was their home ground advantage. How could they give in so easily? Even if they were to face the inextinguishable golden wheel, they were still quite confident. Let the storm come more fiercely. You want to break my 24-winged featherless array? Dream on. Kristen's face was gloomy as he said disdainfully. The two of them pushed forward and did not retreat. The situation became even more tense. It was like a needle against an awl. Jiang Chen's eyes were as calm as ever. He was very confident in the inextinguishable golden wheel. If this guy did not rely on the star-picking palm to catch it, he would have been injured instead. The awakening of the inextinguishable golden wheel was too terrifying. Swish, swish, the inextinguishable golden wheel tore through the void, shining with golden light. The golden wheel was incomparably sharp and light shadows filled the world. Jiang Chen held the inextinguishable golden wheel in his hand and threw it into the void. The inextinguishable golden wheel instantly shone. At that moment, everyone was silent. The inextinguishable golden wheel carried the tyrannical power of a divine weapon. It directly tore the 24-winged featherless array into pieces. The array was broken, and the inextinguishable golden wheel also sawed off Xianxia's and Kristen's bone wings. Arg! After a miserable shriek, Xianxia's entire body only had 5 wings remaining. The rest of his wings had all been severed to the ground. Blood splattered everywhere, covering the ground. It was an extremely ghastly sight. No, don't. After Xianxia, Kristen also couldn't escape misfortune. He was in an even more miserable state. 8 of his wings were cut off and his yuanqi was greatly damaged. Everyone stared dumbfoundedly at this scene. The inextinguishable golden wheel in Jiang Chen's hand was unparalleled, blotting out the sun and sky. The members of the Green Light clan were dumbstruck. They were so shocked that they couldn't utter a word. With their wings broken by the inextinguishable golden wheel, the two of them had nowhere to hide. The array also broke on its own and they were blasted away. They looked extremely miserable. But Jiang Chen wasn't much better off. He had used the inextinguishable golden wheel, but he had almost emptied 70% of his Genesis Qi. This was because Jiang Chen had enough Genesis Qi in his body, which was more than 10 times stronger than a half-step nebula stage expert. But the result was the same. His body was almost emptied. Motherfucker. Even Jiang Chen was shocked by the inextinguishable golden wheel. Not only was it extremely terrifying according to Jiang Chen's speculation, it was highly likely to be a great sovereign weapon. Even after millions of years of corrosion, it still possessed such a shocking energy. If the star-plucking hand hadn't suppressed the peerless artifact spirit within the inextinguishable golden wheel, Jiang Chen most likely wouldn't have been able to hold it in his hand. The terror of the star-plucking hand was evident. At this time, even the heavenly dragon sword in Jiang Chen's hand seemed to emit an unwilling hiss. The heavenly dragon sword and the inextinguishable golden wheel collided and ended in a draw. But this was because the inextinguishable golden wheel was no longer as dazzling as before. But with the power of the 3-legged golden crow, the inextinguishable golden wheel could still exude dazzling and terrifying power. Ancestor Zhou Xian is truly worthy of being the inheritor of our ancestors' legacy. His strength is just too abnormal. Who says it isn't? But the most important thing is that the inextinguishable golden wheel is powerful enough. 2 half-step nebula stage experts were forced to retreat, and the array was broken. TSK, I think the 2 of them are dead for sure this time. Sigh, 1,000 sails have passed and experts are like a stream. We've finally defeated them. These 2 fellows deserve to die. The people of the Green Light clan glared at them. Chapter 5208. Xianxia and Kristen were drenched in blood. They had completely lost their initial sharpness. The 2 of them were supporting each other, but they were already at the end of their tether. The indestructible golden wheel in their hands made their bodies tremble. Xianxia's heart was filled with regret. If he was the one who obtained the inextinguishable golden wheel, the current situation would be different. He reckoned that the one lying on the ground would be Zhou Xian. Too bad he was 1 step behind, causing the 2 of them to fail on the verge of success. Now they were in a life-and-death situation. Damn it! How could you fight us without the indestructible golden wheel? Xianxia said through gritted teeth. Zhou Xian shook his head with a cold expression on his face. These 2 fellas didn't seem to have realized the situation they were in. Without the indestructible golden wheel, the 2 of you would have died even more miserably. Zhou Xian sneered. Do the 2 of you really think that the indestructible golden wheel is my trump card? I just wanted to try and see if the 2 of you could withstand the attack of the indestructible golden wheel. Besides, don't talk about what-ifs. This thing should have been mine in the first place. If the 2 of you had obtained it, would you have ended up like this? People who only talk about what-ifs in this world are cowards. Of course, there's also a type of trash. Which type do you think you are? Zhou Xian snorted disdainfully, his eyes cold. The 2 of them were already on the verge of death. Killing them would be as easy as lifting a finger. The sad thing was that he was actually complaining for himself. He was just looking for an excuse to justify his own incompetence. Kill me if you have the ability. You will never know the secret of the beacon smoke ancient land. Xianxia sneered. Do you really think I can't do anything to you? Believe it or not, I can extract your soul and let you know what it means to be in so much pain that you wish you were dead. Death is not the most despairing thing. Sometimes living is worse than death. Suffering for eternity is the most despairing thing. Zhou Qian's gaze landed on Xianxia. Xianxia shuddered. If Zhou Qian really had such a method, then he wouldn't be able to escape today. This guy was only a peak star state. Did he really have such means? He didn't believe it, but he didn't dare to gamble. Don't believe him. He's definitely spouting nonsense. Even if it's you and I, if a person dies, there's nothing we can do. Clinton frowned. Let us go and you can get the secret you want. Crimson looked at Zhou Qian with his head held high and chest puffed out. Even though he had lost this battle, he was still arrogant and fearless. If you can't do it, why can't I? You guys are so trashy. Do I have to be as trashy as you? Zhou Qian laughed heartily as he shook his head. Crimson and Xianxia's expressions were extremely ugly because he was right. If they really had such ability, they wouldn't have been trapped here by Zhou Qian. These 2 fellows don't seem to have realized their situation. Iluodi said with a smile. He believed that Ancestor Zhou Qian must have a way to punish them. You're about to die, yet you're still so arrogant. Do you 2 really think that you're invincible? Now I'll let you have a taste of what it's like to beg for death. Zhou Qian took a step forward, causing Crimson and Xianxia's expressions to change. Did this guy really want to kill them? Zhou Qian, you'll regret this. Xianxia said in a threatening manner. I, Zhou Qian, have never regretted anything. Zhou Qian sneered. Sword 33. Zhou Qian swept across the sky, brandishing his sword. Soaring dragon, a terrifying sword aura sealed off the 2's paths of retreat. Arg. These are our treasures. How can we just kill them? Without these 2 beasts, how can we find the secret place? Arg. A feminine voice reverberated in the surrounding void. Zhou Qian frowned. A golden wheel fell from the sky and blocked all of Zhou Qian's sword momentum. Moreover, the golden wheel was very calm. Everyone exclaimed. All the sword intents were stopped. Zhou Qian's expression didn't look too good. Ordinary half-step cosmic cloud states would die for sure, but this guy could still walk so casually. More importantly, the golden wheel in his hand was the same as his own. So strong. Zhou Qian's heart tightened. This person wasn't simple. He didn't dare to underestimate him at all. He was even stronger than Xianxia and Crimson. His appearance had saved the two of them. However, his objective seemed to be very simple. He was here to seize the treasure. The two of them were merely chess pieces in his hands. Who is this guy? Isn't he too strong? That's right. Don't you see that he has the same golden wheel of indestructible as Zhang Chen's? Yeah, could this person be in cahoots with Xianxia and the others? Hard to say. It seems Zhang Chen's situation has become difficult again. Is our green light race really going to be annihilated here? Many people sighed. The black-robed man who appeared out of nowhere was wearing a ghost mask. The golden wheel in his hand was exactly the same as Zhang Chen's. Xianxia and Crimson looked at each other as if they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Who exactly was this fellow? Even they didn't know. However, was the golden wheel in his hand related to Zhang Chen's? Who are you? Zhang Chen stared at me Anian coldly. His voice was cold and his eyes were looking straight ahead. It seemed like he could sense Zhang Chen's hostility. Not only did he not step back, he even took a step forward as if he was provoking Zhang Chen. Could it be that the indestructible golden wheel in his hand was a pair with his own? Who I am isn't important. What's important is you. You shouldn't be here. The masked man sneered. I shouldn't be here? I really don't know who you are. I don't think the golden wheel in your hand is fake, is it? Zhang Chen smiled faintly. Whether it's fake or not, we can only know after seeing it. However, you don't have the qualifications to enter this place. If you scram now, I can let you live. You're not worth my effort. Put down the indestructible golden wheel, take your people and walk out. I can pretend that nothing happened. The masked man said arrogantly. You think too much. Zhang Chen shook his head disdainfully. If that's the case, I'll take the inextinguishable golden wheel myself. You don't deserve the golden wheel.